understand, but I don't wanna play your game.
The Earth is very flat.
What's going on, everybody? Thursday, July 1st, 2021. This is Brandon, host of Brandon's Show. Hope you're enjoying that new intro. Shout out to Adam Meekin. Nice job, Adam. Thanks again. And what have we got going on today? Well, I got a link in the mail I think I'll share with you guys just to start off the show because it's pretty funny. I can't remember who it was yesterday that was saying that Brenda listened to David Pac-Man, and I don't know if they knew about this, but let me open this link here. We can take a look at what's going on here, just for the fun of it. And I want to point out one particular comment that's made in here, so hopefully you guys can hear this. I think you should be able to. Let me make sure. Maybe not. Hold on, let me change a couple things. Well, sometimes it lets me play through the thing, and sometimes it doesn't. All right, I'll have to mess around with this during the show. The long and the short of it was whoever said that nailed it on the head, because Brenda was on the David Pac-Man show as a call-in, and in this video, she's a theorist, which I thought was very strange from her. So we'll get that going later today. I don't know why it's not playing the sound through, but Bill says sounds good. You guys couldn't hear the video, right? I don't think so, but yeah, so shout out to whoever it was that called that out yesterday. That was pretty funny. But what else we got going on? I got an interesting personal dome video that somebody had linked to me that I thought was pretty cool. And then, you know, who knows where we'll go from there. I think I got some more leaks for some stuff we can look at, but we'll see where the conversation flows. Shout out to the chat. Jack653, Gadget Inspector, Paul Cruikshank, what's up, Paul? Bill G, Ask and Receive, White's Word, Page 42, Cleary, Earth Circus, Just Barry 1972, Yossi Maz, Peter Gillis, Karem, and Bill G was first. Here you go, Bill. Back on top, Bill. All right, let's see what's going on in Discord. What's up, guys?
Hello.
Hey, how you doing, Bob? Good.
What's that?
How you doing?
Oh, I think I'm doing all right.
Oh yeah, good. Good to hear. Good to hear. I was just sharing with the audience a link that was sent to me, which is Brenda on the David Pac-Man show. Somebody had said in a super chat yesterday that Brenda watches the David Pac-Man show, and sure enough, there she is on election night. Pretty cool. Oh, was it Cleary? I wonder if he had saw that. I don't know, Gadget Inspector. I have no idea. But at the end, she says, "See you in the camps." See you in the camps.
Oh.
Isn't
what
that
is that supposed to mean?
Yeah, what's that mean? I don't know. I think she's one of those conspiracy theorists, Bob. Well,
maybe.
Yeah, I
See
found
you
that
in the
pretty
camps.
interesting. But anyway, I'll link that in the chat for you guys. You can check that out. And anyway, so what's new? What's going on in the Flat Earth verse? Flat Earth verse? Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Not a whole lot.
No? Sounded like there was quite a conversation going on last night regarding the stars and other things.
Oh, there was I don't know if this is what you're talking about, but I don't think it was last night. I think it was the night before. there was a discussion on the moon and its angular size, and the idea that whenever we look at it with just our eyes, we see an illusion. But if we use a camera, well, the camera, it doesn't care about, what your eyes do. It sees reality.
The camera sees reality?
Yeah, according to them, that's what happens is whenever you watch the moon change size, like literally watch it happen with your eyes, that's an illusion according to them. But if you take pictures of the moon with your camera and measure the image, that'll show you that the angular size, I think their claim is that it doesn't change, and so therefore the moon doesn't change size. Your eyes are showing you an illusion, the camera is showing you reality.
Ah. Okay. Yeah, I've heard that about that one illusion where it looks bigger on the moon looks bigger on the horizon because you're psychologically comparing it to the objects on the ground, so it appears to be huge, and then when it's up in the sky and looks smaller, it's because there's nothing to compare it with. I don't know that I've ever seen an analysis of like a camera from the same position taking a picture of, say, the harvest moon, and then up in this. I'm sure
one of the things that I expressed was because they'll admit that they don't have a cause. You can apparently just go look it up right now. That the scientists and science and all that, they don't have a cause yet. They don't have an explanation for why it happens. And I expressed to them that if you don't know the cause of an alleged illusion, I think it's dubious at best to insist that it is in fact an illusion. With no cause? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's fair, I think. Has anybody seen an analysis of that where they take a look at the actual pictures with the same camera?
Okay, so Ruhit showed us like the first half. He came in and showed us like that he apparently had taken a picture and then did the angular size measurement. The thing is he only brought one. So he didn't even demonstrate a change or no change. He just showed that you could do the measurement, allegedly, using the image.
Oh, okay. I see that Brenda has joined us. How's it going, Brenda?
Fine. I was on mobile and then I switched to desktop.
Oh, okay.
Okay, can I jump in here real quick, Brandon?
Go for it.
I just think that us looking up at lights in the sky is never gonna change the fact that water, when at rest, lays level and flat.
Yeah, no, I get you. It all comes down to whether there is curvature of the Earth or not. It'll all come down to that.
With this idea,
how did you verify?
There is none. It's tested.
How did you verify that?
Specular reflection.
2-peg test with the auto level, you're accurate to the millimeter.
Yeah. How did you verify that water is always flat?
What makes you think you can measure the curvature of the water?
Well, you would do that with the theodolite. You could potentially, yeah. So how did you reach your conclusion that water is always flat?
There's a tool called a water level. It's used to create a horizontal plane of reference, not a curved plane. That's
false. That's false. It's not true.
But that's what that's what the tool is designed to do.
Well, you're just begging the question. How do you know a water level? How do you know How do you know a water level?
When you think that the water level somehow stops creating a straight line and then magically creates a curved line at like a couple hundred meters away.
How do you know a water level creates a perfect horizontal to your local plumb?
Because that's what the tool is designed to do.
No, it's not.
I think it's on you to prove that it is somehow curving.
Well, I don't have to prove your claims. You have to prove your claims.
No, you have the positive fucking claim here.
The tool,
Claim is
To
that
do with
water is
Indoctrinated by it.
I use the tool to do what the tool is designed to do, and it does what it says it does because there's no grade, no slope to the tool. Because if there was a slope, then the water would flow.
How do
The
you
water
know?
doesn't.
So how do you know that you have you're standing at a location and you have established plumb by using a plumb bob, and now you want to establish a horizontal line that is straight and 90 degrees. How do you know a water level does that?
Because that's what water does.
No, that's begging the question.
What do you mean? Why is that begging the question? That's what the water does.
No, you haven't shown that that's what the water does. You're just assuming that's what the water does.
Oh, when the water stops moving, is at equilibrium. No matter how far those two vials, they will always be at even pressure.
Yeah, on the globe model, where we have a spherical Earth, the water will be at equilibrium.
I'm not talking about a globe model and a spherical Earth. I'm talking about a water level and what it's designed to do. And it does what it's designed to do.
Water levels on a spherical Earth establish a level line, and a level line is that which conforms to the curvature of the Earth. That's what a water level does.
Now that's begging the fucking question.
That's begging the question. Because it doesn't. That's not what the
You have to prove to us that it fucking forms around the ball. You haven't done that
You're
yet.
the one who claims that water is
Specular reflection.
Specular reflection, reflective surfaces.
Yeah, how is that possible on curved water?
Have you ever looked at, say, any kind of a mirrored ball? They have specular reflections.
Stutter for me.
A mirrored ball has a specular reflection.
Brenda, can you describe to us how you would use a water level to create a level line over the surface of the Earth?
A level line is defined as a line that conforms to the curvature of the Earth. That's what
so you got your water level, and you're going to go out there and you want to create a level line between points A and B. Tell me how you're going to do that with your water level.
That's what a water level does. Is because it is one where the water is at equilibrium with the force of gravity pulling it down.
I'm building a building. I want to create a wall on this building that is level. Okay, it's 300 meters long. I've got my water level. How am I going to use it to lay out this wall?
I don't think surveyors used anything as primitive as a tube filled with water. They
Can't answer the question, or what? Are you saying now they don't use a water level? It is a tool.
I don't know what professional.
You know they put micrometers on the top of those, right? So they're getting real accurate measurements. Do you think they're trying to accurately measure the curvature of Earth or make a straight line?
No, she doesn't think they even use them anymore.
Well, she hasn't answered the question. She made the claim that they use a water level as a tool for creating a level line over the surface of the Earth. Correct, Brenda?
No, that's your claim.
No, that's what you said.
Water is always straight and horizontal.
So what's a water level for? What's it used for?
I don't know if anybody uses water levels. They use theodolites. They use surveying
use water
equipment.
levels. They sell them on Amazon. Clearly, there's people out there who use a water level.
Maybe you should ask somebody who's a professional surveyor if they ever use water levels.
What? How about builders? Why do you go to a professional surveyor? Seems like a little bit of a red herring. I'm asking you what a water level for it, and you're bringing up surveyors.
What would it be used for except it within surveying?
Didn't he just bring up the fact he was building a fucking building?
Yeah.
That was his example.
I have never seen anybody stringing a clear tube filled with water. They use surveying equipment. They use water. They use theodolites or some kind of or a Dumpty level. They use something. They don't use a tube filled with water. Nobody does.
Do you spend a lot of time on construction sites?
When I have seen them, I see them looking through a tripod with a scope mounted on it, which is either a theodolite or a Dumpty level.
So what the fuck are water levels for then?
No, wait. Let's start with that. Brenda, what do you think those people are doing when they're looking through those tools?
They're surveying.
Are they measuring Earth curve?
They are establishing elevation points.
It's a different answer than you gave before. Okay.
Right? They establish. So this started off with me challenging you to prove your claim that water is always perfectly horizontal.
When those surveyors
you have to prove. You have
create
to
that horizontal plane of reference.
You have to prove your claim that water is always perfectly level and flat. You can't just assume it.
Why not? That's what it does.
That's called begging the question. It's fallacious.
No. The fallacy comes when you think that somehow it magically curves.
Level is defined as
I don't care.
the curve of the earth.
Do you understand what happens when water is on a slope?
It seeks gravitational equilibrium.
What's gravitational equilibrium? Can you define that for me?
Equilibrium. Yes, I can. And
I want you to also practically demonstrate gravity.
Yes, I can just pick up a pencil and drop it. That's gravity.
Yeah, but you don't. This is going to descend into farce if you act retarded. Listen, you picked up the pencil.
So
what was the pencil? What was gravity doing to the pencil before you picked up the pencil? Was gravity holding it down?
Yes.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
You don't know
Hello?
how. Yes.
So gravity is holding everything down on my table in front of me. Right now, that's what gravity is doing.
Everything around you has mass, and gravity is constantly affecting it and causing it to accelerate down. Yes.
Gravity is affecting it or is causing it to stay on my table?
What causes it to stay on your table is the fact that it's at equilibrium.
Right. So where's gravity?
Pulling it down.
No, gravity doesn't pull anything.
Yeah, it does. That's what it is. It is a force that causes objects to accelerate in a downward direction.
So I got this kettle in front of me, and I'm gonna start boiling water. That water in the kettle, that has mass, right?
Yes, it does.
As it's evaporating, does it have mass still, or did it just magically lose its mass?
It has mass. Yes, it does.
Why is it going up?
Because it has energy given to it by the flame or the heat from the burner gives it kinetic energy enough that it can resist the force of gravity.
Hey, Brandon, can you check general real quick? I put a definition from Merriam-Webster. I don't know if that's good enough anymore, but it didn't say any of that fucking shit she was just talking about. It even says in the definition, water seeks its own level as an example. So I don't know if that's Merriam-Webster still good anymore, but
they've redefined everything. So she's gonna say, "Go look at physics and blah blah blah."
Well,
you can define anything anywhere you want. Merriam-Webster could decide that fucking it's magic pixies, and they could write that in their definition. Using a definition from a book is not scientific evidence of any kind.
Right. So words have usage, and dictionaries record how people use words, and a word can have multiple usages, so it can have multiple meanings.
Yeah.
Within surveying.
So how do we understand each other if we're constantly changing the definitions of words when they had a already existing definition that worked to build buildings? Everyone did it just fucking fine with that definition in mind. So please tell me,
because
how are we supposed to understand each other in a constantly evolving and changing where nobody can understand each other anymore because you have your definition, I have my definition. No, there's supposed to be the definitions of words.
We just have to agree. And surveyors have agreed since the 19th century that the word level, when used in surveying, means at gravitational equilibrium and conforming to the surface of the earth. That's what surveyors mean by it. Other people can have other meanings.
So what year?
So
was
Merriam-Webster was not a leading definer of words. They didn't use this generally. Wasn't taught in schools at one point. I mean,
you get meaning from context.
Yeah, there's plenty of context in there.
In the context
general.
In the context of surveying, level means conforming to the curvature of the earth, and it has been since the 19th century.
Okay, can you define horizontal for me?
Which was brought up in that definition several times.
In this case, it would be at right angles to a local plumb, right? You establish plumb horizontal, then your local horizontal would be 90 degrees to that.
Yeah.
On a curved surface, then that 90 degree horizontal
that right there is begging the question.
No, it's not.
That right there is begging the question.
No, it's not.
Who said anything about a curve? The water doesn't care about what's underneath it.
We already know that. We've known for 2,000 years that the earth is curved. We've known that.
No, we've known for 2,000, for 5,000 years that it's flat. So we've got a longer time on you.
No, they believed it was flat. They didn't know it was flat.
I see. When it agrees with you, then they know something. When it agrees with us, then it was a belief.
No, knowledge is having justified reasons for.
And we have justified reasons.
You don't.
We do, actually. You just never just stop.
What's the proof?
To think about it for long enough.
What's the proof?
Every single building that has ever been built relies on the idea that horizontal is equal to level. That's pretty good proof.
No, I've already told you that surveyors already know that the earth
they don't use it in practice. I don't care what it says in the manuals. They don't use it in practice. And you know that there is no way to falsify. I will agree with you. There is no way to falsify your model with a water level alone that I'm aware of.
Yeah. If you're building a house, you don't have to take into account the curvature of the earth.
Nor is there a way to falsify that Earth is a flat plane with a water level.
There's There's an easy way to falsify it. Jeranism did it in the documentary.
You're going to go by a, kind of a hastily, not well thought out experiment that someone you don't respect said in a produced documentary for Netflix. That's going to be your evidence for the shape of the Earth.
That was definitive proof.
Sometimes that's all it takes.
That's what you consider out of all the things out there as definitive evidence of the shape of the Earth. Jeranism's one failed experiment. Have you repeated this experiment?
It wasn't a failed experiment. It succeeded in showing that the Earth is curved.
No, there was all kinds of problems with it.
What was
they
the
didn't
problem?
go into details in the Netflix documentary, but I wouldn't, even if he would have came up with the right answer, that was a flawed experiment.
How do you know what the right answer was?
Well, I worded it poorly, but if he would have came up with one that supported the flat Earth hypothesis, I wouldn't have thought it was definitive. You're just being intellectually dishonest, Brenda, and you know it.
So the way we show things in science is by falsification. And so what the Jeranism experiment in the documentary showed, but what it did was falsify the flat Earth.
No, it didn't. It didn't do anything of the sort. And the idea that you think that Jeranism falsified the flat Earth and that was any kind of scientific experiment worthy of being considered falsification is a joke, and you're trolling us.
I'd like to hear her explain how.
It's a simple and actually beautiful.
How did it falsify, Brenda?
Yeah, how did it falsify?
If the Earth is flat, the light will be seen through the two holes.
Right.
And he won't have to raise it up. He did have to raise it up. Therefore, the Earth is not flat.
Okay, can you think of any other reasons he had to raise it up to see the light?
Maybe green pixies interfered with him.
So now you're just being dumb. So any reasons that Jaron gave himself, the person that was there, that now realizes why his test didn't work, any reasons he gave that wasn't represented in the documentary that you know of?
What was the reason that he gave that wasn't
Do you know any reasons?
No, I don't. Go ahead and tell me.
So you have no idea, right?
No, go ahead.
You're just spouting off at the mouth.
So go ahead and tell me.
So could something be in his way? Could something be obstructing it besides Earth curve?
What could be in his way?
A bush, a car.
A fish? He was in the water?
No, he wasn't in the water. He was alongside of a canal. Get your facts straight. He also told you what was in the way. You're just being disingenuous, and I don't know why people talk to you.
So you think there was a fish in the way?
I don't think he told us. And you know he was misrepresented in that documentary, and you use it as your proof, and it's sickening to me that people address you and let you spout your nonsense every day.
Because I'm polite? And
no, it has nothing to do with polite. A polite deceiver is still a deceiver.
I haven't deceived you.
Did you not know that Jaron told you the reason why the light wasn't seen?
You said it wasn't in the documentary, right?
Did you not know what Jaron said was the reason the light wasn't seen?
What did he say?
I just told you what he said, Brenda. You haven't seen any videos that explain?
You said that there was a fish in the way?
Oh my goodness.
She's just trolling.
See, this is why you should. Why you give her time? I don't get it.
Well, what is the explanation? Go ahead, fill me in.
Is this a troll channel? Is this Friday Night Fire? I mean, I don't know.
So Sharon
is Thursday actually, but it's an open panel, and
right, I understand, but I mean, it's obvious deception.
What's the deception?
Yeah, and Rakia, there's a value to pointing out obvious deceivers. So I think
that's what I did. Thank you for giving me the platform to do that. Now, why are we going to give an obvious deceiver any more time from this point forward? Now it's been obviously pointed out. That's what she's here to do.
Well, that's
have a
the
good
decision
day.
That we've made for a long time. Is it's an open panel, and we let just about anybody come on here.
Number one, I do not yell at you and call you names the way
Who cares?
Rumpus does, and
Who cares?
I disagree with Rumpus for doing
Who
that.
cares?
But if you could fill me in on what it was that was obstructing Jeranism,
Cares?
fill me in. Fill me in. What was the obstruction?
Who cares?
Well,
Well,
it doesn't
apparently
even have
you-
to be an obstruction. There's another major reason why that experiment is flawed, and you know it. It's one word. You talk about it all the time. You use it to make your model unfalsifiable, and suddenly you can't think of it right now when it's convenient to try to pretend
Why lights
that
can't be
Jaren
used over
falsified
water.
it.
Yeah.
Do you know what the word is, Brenda?
So you're thinking of refraction, right?
Wow, like you didn't already fucking know that, and you just thought of it.
So you think that refraction accounts for why when
No, but
Jaren
it's
is
a possibility. How did you rule that out in Jaren's experiment? Because that's what you tell us when we show you a laser over like 20 miles that can be seen that should be behind 200 feet of Earth curvature. You tell us that that's due to refraction, but suddenly Jaren's very similar experiment based on the same thinking is good enough for you, huh?
was that experiment done over water or over land?
So Brenda, I've got a question for you. Actually, I found somebody sent me a clip of you on the David Pac-Man show on 2020 election night.
Cool.
And you say something interesting in that. Yeah, everybody's got their political interests. I don't want to get into that, but you say something interesting in there at the end of your discussion with David, which is see you at the camps. And I'm just curious what you meant by that.
It was a joke.
Oh, why would that be funny?
It would be humorous because we felt that Donald Trump is an authoritarian and anti-democratic.
Did you think that you were going to be rounded up and put into a camp?
No, I didn't. It was a joke.
Oh, okay. You didn't sound like you were joking, and I was
However,
curious whether you actually thought that or not, because you come on here and call us conspiracy theorists and nuts all the time, and there you are saying something that is just ludicrous.
However, a lot of people are very concerned over Donald Trump's authoritarian and the GOP's increasing authoritarianism, right? And
This sounds like a defense as if you were serious.
the possibility that we could lose. There's a real possibility we could lose our democracy and descend into a strongman dictatorship, and that's a real possibility.
So are you saying you were serious then and not joking now?
No, I was joking.
I think you're lying.
It seems strange that you would give a defense like you just did about a joke that you made. Seems like maybe it wasn't a joke.
You can joke about something that you think is a remote possibility as a way of, sort of.
Okay, a remote possibility. Okay.
Yeah, at that time. Right now, people think it's much. There's a real thing to be concerned about, which is the increasing authoritarianism of the GOP and specifically of Trump.
Guys, they
Trump
create the
is
rules
gone.
as they go
It's like-
along. So whenever who's in power, they get to change things as they go along. It's great.
Why would they be worried now if Trump is gone?
I was wondering that too, Bob. Brenda, isn't
Exactly.
Joe
Trump's
Biden the
not here.
president now? Aren't the Democrats
Seems
in
a bit
charge?
strange to be scared of him now.
The Democrats.
Why is there an increasing fear, Brenda, when he's got
Right, because
no
of the
power?
attempted coup on January 6th. That's why.
You think that was an attempted
okay.
coup, Brenda?
Oops.
You think that's what
Really?
happened on that day?
Yes.
You're a conspiracy theorist, Brenda. That wasn't an attempted coup, you
No,
jackass.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist. It's
Have
something
you got
for
a
which we have-
tinfoil hat on at the moment, Brenda?
It's something for
Hey,
which
listen.
we have good evidence.
Listen, I assure you, Brenda, if at some point the people who think that you should have a right to have a gun decide to attempt a coup, it's going to go far differently than what happened on January 6th. I
Some
assure you.
jackass with a buffalo cap and a bunch of wankers who the
Just like a
Capitol Police let
Viking
into
or
the
whatever.
building.
Okay.
Right. Those
Took pictures
jackasses.
on the fucking Capitol, and you think it's a fucking coup. Why? Because David Pac-Man and CNN told you so? You got to stop listening to these conspiracy theorist shows.
You all know
Brenda.
during coups, people
I think-
dressed up like they're at Comic-Con.
I
That's a
think-
sure sign of a coup.
I think it was a real threat because those people were looking for the Vice President of the United States in order to hang him and kill him.
No, they weren't.
Yes, they were. This is documented.
Brenda, you got to
On January 6th?
whatever you're ingesting into your brain is not healthy for you because you're spouting off a bunch of crazy conspiracy
On
shit.
January
This
6th?
isn't even like a controversy at the levels of government. They were looking for representatives to kill them,
No,
and
they weren't.
they erected a gallows.
So wait, are you saying that that's what happened on January 6th?
Yes.
Okay, so if they were looking for the vice president to hang him, it
Yes.
sounds like it wasn't the GOP side that was doing it because that's their guy.
No, they did not. They did not think he was their guy.
They didn't think
There must
that
be some
Mike
people
Pence, the
charged
vice
with it.
president
Right,
at the
these
time,
are-
was their guy. That's your claim.
No, these are people who are insurrectionists. They do not think that the GOP vice president was on their side. They did not think that. That's why they wanted to hang him.
So the Department of Justice is charging people for insurrection? Is that what you're saying? Because I haven't seen that.
The people who participated in the insurrection are being charged legally and
Yes,
found
but things
guilty.
like assault on protected person.
Yes,
That's probably
yes.
the most serious charge
Yes.
that I've seen. I haven't seen anything about like attempted. You're saying they were
Or
planning
treason?
Documents
Or
the
treason,
documentation.
insurrection.
The documentation for everything I've said is copious, and it's around there. You can easily find it. The Proud Boys stashed weapons prior to January 6th in order to use them in their unsuccessful coup d'etat.
Wow.
Yes,
You
they
think the
did.
Proud Boys tried to take over the country?
Unbelievable.
Yes, they did. They stashed weapons.
Brenda, that
Yeah.
is ludicrous and insane.
It's simply a fact.
No, it's not.
Brandon,
Sounds like a conspiracy theory to me.
I had a comment on what we were talking about before, the Jeranism thing. Are you guys wanting to
No,
do this?
I
It's
don't
like-
want to get deeper into politics, but I just wanted to point out for everybody that this person who comes in here and calls us conspiracy theorists and wackos every day has some interesting thoughts of her own that she thinks are real. That's all. Go ahead. Gio, floor's yours, buddy.
All right. Well, I was just Brenda. You were saying that Jeranism. You thought you were making these claims that he proved, the curvature of the Earth. I wanted to ask you: are you aware that there were globe earthers and flat earthers that were all present on that day? Are you aware that all of them walked away agreeing that it was an inconclusive result? And if you don't know that, I'm wondering why you don't know that, and I'm wondering why you're claiming that it was proof of something from watching a documentary.
I think it's a very simple and elegant demonstration of the curvature of the Earth.
Okay, I'm going to ask again. Are you aware that the globe earthers and the flat earthers that were present that day agreed that it was an inconclusive result? Are you aware of that?
I don't know what you're thinking.
Okay,
What
I
your
was
beliefs
there.
are.
The first experiment, I was there with the laser test. The second one, I was not physically there, but I've talked to Jaron about it directly, and I know many of the people who were there. I'm asking you, you made a claim that it was 100% definitive proof of measuring curvature. What I'm telling you, everyone who was there that day agreed it was inconclusive. You watched a documentary and got tricked. Do you now agree that you were deceived and tricked, and now you're just
No.
deceiving everybody else by repeating this information?
No, I don't. Do you think that the laser test to show Earth rotation, do you think that was inconclusive?
It had nothing to do with Earth rotation. You are completely misguided on all of this. That had nothing to do with Earth rotation.
Why not?
Brenda,
Why not?
you're the equivalent of, you're arguing with an eyewitness to a crime. You've watched a news article on CNN. You're now speaking to an eyewitness to the crime, but you're saying that the eyewitness doesn't know what he's talking about because you saw it on CNN. That's how ludicrous Your
No,
position
I'm not
is
talking
right
about that. I'm asking Geo why he thinks that the fiber optic gyroscope was inconclusive.
Okay, I say this respectfully. You are so lost in your ideas right now. First of all, you're talking about Bob. If you're talking about a fiber optic gyro, you're talking about Bob, who spoke about a fiber optic gyro on the documentary. What you're doing is you're not obfuscating, you're changing the topic. Let's go back to the Jeranism thing. Jeranism did two days of tests. I was physically there for the first one, which was using a laser over a long distance to measure curvature. We could talk about that one second, but we could talk about that one later. But the one we're talking about, the second one, which I was not physically there, but like I said, I've talked to him directly and I knew many of the people who were there as well. That one was using 3 boards that had 3 holes in them. And what he was trying to do is to get the light to shine through all 3 holes. And if it did, it would prove a flat earth result. If you had to hold the light up, meaning it did go through the holes, it would be a globe earth result. The whole thing was set up. The whole thing was set up problematically. There's problems with that. But if you have any obstruction between those boards, the 3 holes, you're not going to get that. You're not going to get the light to go through that. And specifically, when he went back to the site later, there were several groups of bushes that were in the way. So there was obstruction. That was one of the reasons it was inconclusive. But the main question I'm asking you, are you aware that all the globe earthers and flat earthers, everybody there agreed it was inconclusive? Why are you spouting it as proof of Earth curvature? Why? Answer that directly, please.
Oh, because it's conclusive. That's why.
So it's conclusive because you saw a documentary. You didn't even see the whole thing. You saw the fact that he said interesting because somebody held a light up. That's proof for you?
You just said it would be.
I agree with Rakia. You should not be given the airtime whatsoever. This is a complete waste of time.
Rakia thinks it was a fish that was in the way.
Rakia did not say a fish. He mentioned
he did. Yes,
no,
he did.
No,
He
you
said
said a fish. You guys, this is pointless.
Hey guys,
Brandon, I think you're wasting your time.
Don't address her. Guys, if you think she's a waste of time, don't address her.
Can I address her with some science, please?
Oh shit! All right.
If that's okay, can I share my screen?
I don't mind. It's just people are complaining that she's on the show. My point is,
well, this might get her off.
Well, I guess it's like I brought all that up is because it's like I said, everybody who was there agreed it was inconclusive. The documentary did some deceptive editing and made a cut of Jaron saying interesting, and Brenda's now here using this as some kind of a claim of a proof of Earth curve, even though she wasn't there.
Oh,
she doesn't know the conclusions that were drawn from it. It's like literally talking to a child who said they saw Santa Claus and they just say it's Santa Claus, and all the parents are like, no Santa Claus doesn't exist. And Brenda's just like, no, I saw Santa Claus, guys. It's proof. Like, what are we doing?
So was it in fact the case that Jeranism had to lift the light source up in order for it to pass through the holes in the boards?
No, that was not the case. Because if you actually ask Jaron and the people that were there, that's not what happened. When they held the light up, they were holding the light over the boards, above all of the boards entirely. So it wasn't even, when he said interesting, it wasn't even in relation to the test. He said interesting, something completely unrelated.
Interesting was in relation to the fiber optic test, not to the.
See, now you're obfuscating, going to something completely different.
So
now you're actually ignoring the fact that you're incorrect on this.
Interesting was in relation to the fiber optics result, not to the Jeranism test.
That is completely false again on every level. The last cut of the movie is Jaron at the second day with the lights through the holes. And when he said interesting, I don't know why you're confusing that. Like I said, It's even worse. You're like a child who sees Santa Claus and you're like, I see the tooth fairy. It's like, what are we even doing? Like, we're on like the wrong holiday here.
So Jeranism,
she's a total troll. All she's trying to do is fuck with us. She's a troll. Don't feed her.
Not really.
But Gleam, let's let Gleam do his thing. And
I'm just telling you the truth. When Jeranism lifted the light up, he proved that the Earth is curved.
Okay, that's nice that that's your opinion. It's stupid and fallacious and uninformed.
You can't show that it's fallacious.
Okay, go ahead, Gleam.
I can, Brenda. If you look on my screen, there's a paper done in combination with the US Air Force. And all they done is they used a camera and they had a look at a hospital. And they actually found that just throughout the day using standard atmosphere or standard refraction, that the image of the hospital lifted in the air at night time. Therefore, refraction at the night time as it's going into the night makes everything lift up overnight, and then in the morning it goes back down again. And that's standard refraction. And they conclude that they have a measurable bend upwards here. Note the hospital appears to be more elevated. Wait there. Note the hospital appears to be more elevated in B than A. B is the nighttime one. A is the morning one.
Can I clarify just before we go on? So they did this observation. In A, it's during the daytime. In B, it's at nighttime. And the conclusion they drew from this was during the nighttime, refraction causes the building to lift up into position to the point where the Earth looks flat.
1 trillion%. Well, it lifts up. It lifts up. They don't say anything about flat Earth.
What does it do to? What does it do to Gleam?
Well, this is the thing. I mean, did you consider that before you concluded?
What does that do to?
No, you've got to.
You're not going to say, are you? You're not going to say
refraction. It's refraction.
No, that's not what they say.
How do you know? Have you read the paper?
I'm reading it because I'm reading it. What do they attribute? What do they attribute that to?
You tell me. You tell me, Brenda. You know this paper better.
Tell me.
You obviously know this paper. Yes, I've read this many times for years.
Yes, but did you understand?
Tell me.
What did they attribute it to?
No, you tell me. Refraction. I just told you, and you said no. It's not that. I've just said refraction. It's standard refraction.
No, it doesn't say that. That's not what they say. It says
this is their test results, and this is throughout the day of it going up and down for the vertical shift in pixels.
Yeah,
through
and
refraction.
what is the cause of that? What is the cause?
Refraction, for God's sake.
No, that's not what they say. What is the cause?
Relationship between the refractive index gradient and apparent change in object position.
And what is
you know it better than me. You tell me, please. Come on.
No, you're the one who's bringing out the survey. You tell me.
I already have, and you're telling me I'm wrong. It says here, due to the refractive bending of the ray, and you're telling me, no, that's wrong. So you tell me. I've just told you.
No, you haven't.
Why did I? When I say it's due to refraction, why is that not saying it?
Well, they don't attribute it to refraction. They attribute it to.
Sounds like it.
Quote,
it says methodology, relationship between refractive index gradient and apparent change in the object position.
Here's the quotation. Here's the quotation. Allow me to finish it. Quote, atmospheric turbulence caused the images to wander quickly, randomly, and statistically isotropically, and changes in the average refractive index gradient along the path caused the images to move vertically and more slowly, unquote. You mong.
The refraction.
What do you mean, you mong? This is 7 days worth or something that they've done. And this is just their normal standard refraction. You've got the odd spike where there is more.
Sit down, Gleam. Sit down.
What do you mean, sit down? I've just sat you down.
Because they came up with a brand new phrase to describe refraction.
What did the turbulence cause?
Oh, let's not call it just refraction. Let's put a little pizzazz into the article and say atmospheric turbulence.
So this isn't standard refraction, Brenda.
Refraction.
Scroll up to the abstract, Gleam, and then read the abstract. Where
This
it's
is
starting
really
at atmospheric turbulence.
Sad.
Start reading.
This
Start
is
reading.
sad.
Go to
I'll read the whole thing.
Turbulence.
Let him read it.
Thing, so I don't know if anyone thinks refraction's turbulence.
This is hilarious. Anyway, the sea level vertical refractive index gradient in the US standard atmosphere model is 2.7 to 10 minus
10 to the negative 8.
And it's mass to the negative 1.
If you're going to pretend to know science, learn how to read science.
Are you going to let him read it?
Calm down,
or are you
Packet.
going to shut the fuck up?
At 500 nanometers. At any particular location, the actual refractive index gradient varies due to turbulence and local weather conditions.
There you go. It varies due to turbulence. There you go. Now sit down.
What?
It reflects the light.
I don't get you here, Brenda. So are you saying that this doesn't happen everywhere? I don't get you.
Happens.
I
Sure.
don't get what you're saying. Yeah, but I don't get what you're saying. They're saying that the turbulent atmosphere makes it shift position physically.
Yes.
Makes light move up and down.
You could see that, for instance, on a hot day, the mirages which are wavering, right, billowing, moving around due to turbulence in the air.
Yes. Now listen, it says an imaging experiment was conducted to measure the temporal variability of this gradient. A tripod-mounted digital camera captured images of a distant building every minute. Atmospheric turbulence caused the images to wander quickly, randomly, and statistically isotropically, and changes in the average refractive index gradient along the path caused the images to move vertically and more slowly. Okay, do you need me to go on?
Yeah,
because all of this, you've just said refraction is don't say refraction, you said earlier. It can't be refraction. It's got to be Earth curve. It's perfect proof of Earth curve. Have you considered this before you made your conclusion?
Right. Air turbulence will cause the refracted images to waver, to move around, to move up and down.
So why wasn't that doing it in the Netflix documentary, Brenda? It was only one day that they tested it. These guys tested it for a week. Yeah, literally kept that camera there for a week. And here's your normal pattern. Day, night, day, night, day, night. Oh, there's an odd day where the weather was a bit mad. Day, night, day, night. And you're trying to pick out saying, sit down, Gleam. Because of
Gleam,
what?
how much did it move?
What was
How
the
much
amount?
It's about 7 pixels.
Well, yes.
Can I help you with that?
You're not getting the point, and you're not answering the question. You're just distracting the whole conversation onto something else. The whole point is, Brenda's just said, it's definitely the curve of the Earth, that light thing with Jeranism, yeah, and she hasn't taken this into account.
So 7 pixels. 7 pixels.
How much did Jeranism light move? Could it be the same level?
He moved the light source several feet by holding it at
Yeah.
chest level. And
Could
then
that be
raising
several
it.
feet? Could several pixels be several feet?
No,
We don't know. It's your fucking paper, you idiot.
No,
not my paper.
Isn't several feet. No, it isn't.
The way Jaron had that
could it
set
be
up
more?
was he was trying to get the light to go through 3 holes in 3 boards at varying distances. So in order to get the light to go
We
through
know.
those, you first would have to
Gleam,
make sure
how
there was
much
no
did it move?
obstruction between those boards.
7 pixels.
So that's the first problem with it.
You'll have to do your calculations on it.
If the
I'll
light
give you the
went through
paper
the
if
3
you want it. I'm
boards,
not
Glenn,
sure.
can I ask you a question,
Your
please,
paper.
buddy?
Do it.
Glenn, can I ask you a question, yeah? As you're talking about this atmospheric turbulence, I've got this image of... Have you seen the Black Swan video? The one that the still image is taken out? If you remember the Black Swan images...
Yeah,
the one with
of course.
Yeah, and the crane on the left-hand side is really wobbly. If you watch the video, that crane's wobbling about. That's because of atmospheric turbulence, right?
Yep, exactly that. That is exactly what it is. But there is a natural outlet, a pipe outlet of fire, which makes that crane bend a whole lot more than the whole scene. The wobbly legs is the atmospheric turbulence. However, there is a net effect with the sun. The sun heating things up in the day, and then as it becomes night and it's cooling down, there's just the standard refraction in the globe model makes everything go up. And then in the morning, as the sun comes back up, it's supposed to drop back down again.
I get you, buddy. But we see this turbulence all the time, and we would be really foolish to ignore it, right? Going down the road.
Exactly. Well, Brenda doesn't. Brenda concludes
Well,
before
you
even considering
definitely
it.
got to ignore shit if you live on a ball and stuff. But if you don't, and you recognise reality for what it is, that's the turbulence of the air that's been distorted by whatever energy is being put into it. Problem solved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they
Yeah, I mean,
ignore turbulence when it's convenient for them to red herring about crooked cranes and whatnot.
Right.
And they ignore refraction when it's convenient for them to say idiotic things like Jeranism proved the shape of the Earth with his highly edited
Yeah, I don't think it was fish that blocked the path of the light.
See, there she goes again.
She was the one who even made that up. Rakia never said that. Rakia mentioned there could be an obstruction.
Yes, and one of the could-be's he mentioned was fish.
We could go back on the recording and prove 1,000%. Rakia never said the word fish. Not once.
Didn't hear it either.
Literally did. He literally did.
And even if he did, it doesn't really matter. It's not the central point of this conversation, and you know it. You're just saying to try to obfuscate the conversation.
The point of the whole Jeranism test is that the holes in the board line up in a straight line. If the Earth is flat, then a light
You've
will
already
shine.
said this 2 or 3 times.
And since he had to hold it up in order to see it, therefore that falsifies the hypothesis that the Earth is flat.
And a vacuum.
Sorry, it doesn't, Brenda.
So the test that Jeranism performed was a false hypothesis falsification.
Wasn't a fucking
Only if you forget refraction and do not care about that.
Yeah, it wasn't
7 pixels. 7 pixels isn't going to cut
Yep,
it.
7 pixels on that hotel is half a floor, Brenda.
How far away were the boards? How far away was the whole?
We don't care.
You tell me. You tell me. You know this paper and everything just by seeing it in a quick second.
It's
you got
your
the skill.
paper, Gleam. You tell us.
I've just told you it's 7 pixels.
Yeah.
If you want to calculate how much that is, I think it does actually mention it in the paper. I think it does. No, but you don't understand the reason for me citing it, Ruhiv. Why did I cite it, Ruhiv? Tell me that.
Because you want to claim that it's loomed up.
Huh?
Actually, yeah, doesn't this work again? Yeah.
What? So an experimental evidence showing that it's loomed up is
Doesn't
my
this
claim.
work against you?
How
If it
does
was
it work
loomed
against
up,
me?
wouldn't the
How does
17
it work
feet
against
holes
me?
work?
I've got a very quick question. Loomed up from where?
The atmospheric
If the
turbulence.
light goes through the 17
Or the
feet
apparent
holes,
position.
if the light goes through the 17 feet holes, the Earth is flat, right? The same effect is if it's loomed up in the same curvature as the Earth.
That's not the point.
Doesn't this work against you?
You're distracting the point. The whole point was Brenda did not consider refraction. She come in straight away and she said, "Don't say refraction. It's got nothing to do with it." And then I've just shown something that says refraction has something to do with it.
This is the thing
You're
that
saying it can
always
raise up, right?
Now you're arguing
It can
about the
raise
minor
up, but it would go
particulars
through the
of
17 feet holes.
Yeah, well then
Right.
you then
So
you
it
then
does work.
consider that. No, listen, then you consider that. Yeah,
Right.
in your experiment, but Brenda wasn't, and she was dismissing it. And that was Brandon was saying you are teaching and sending out the wrong message. You shouldn't dismiss that because you need that for the black swan, don't you?
I think this argues against you.
It does not.
If you're-
I
it
brought the
does. You're saying
science
it
to
raises
the
up.
table to shut Brenda up, to say she's not considered. She's using Jeranism as an experiment.
Yeah, so Jaren had some holes at 17 feet and a hole at the end at 23 feet, right? And you had to raise it up to 23 feet. Right?
You consider his experiment a
And
valid scientific experiment.
it was at night time, and the refraction
it's
was
a
bending the light
hypothesis
up.
test,
Yes. The refraction was bending the light up. It was night time. Yes. Carry
Bending
on.
the light up. You said that
Yes.
the hospital was raised up. That's light bending down.
Is it?
Yes. If the light bends down, it appears higher.
On the globe model, is that?
On any model, if the light bends down, the image will appear higher.
Okay.
If the light bends up, the image will appear lower.
Yes.
Well, like I said, in terms of the Jeranism thing, everybody who was there agreed it was inconclusive. There's a lot of inherent problems with what he did. I'm not saying it's impossible to do. I think it's a decent idea, but you have to make sure those boards are, precisely lined up. And like I said, when he went back there the second day, there were these sets of bushes that they didn't even know were in between. Clearly, there was construction going on. There was a lot of problems going on with that to get all those, to get 3 boards over 3 miles to be lined up like that is not easy. But the thing is, when he said the interesting part, that was when they raised the light above the boards entirely. It wasn't even going through any holes. So that thing was just literally 100% deceptively edited. So for anyone to just believe that Netflix did that it's similar to seeing Santa Claus on TV and just saying, "Oh my God, that's Santa Claus." It's that same type of thing.
I think you missed the point there, Ruhif. I think you completely missed the point. Does the light get affected by refraction, yes or no? That was the reason for citing the paper, to say yes.
Sounds like a dumb question, right?
We all know
Like
refraction's
that,
a thing,
when it
Glenn.
pops.
We've been telling you for
Yeah.
years, refraction's a thing.
Why did Brenda just dismiss it? That was the fucking idiotic thing. You just come in here white knighting her and she's just said, forget about it. And now you're telling me
I
don't.
think your paper
You're a
works
knob.
against you. If you're saying the image,
How does it
appears
work against
higher
me when
at
I'm
night,
saying account for it? Okay, here we go. How does it work against me when you don't know, I don't know, and there is no published vertical temperature profile?
if the image lifts at night, light bends down. It should have gone through the
Okay,
17
it
feet
moves.
holes in Jaren's
It moves.
experiment.
It can sink as well, can't
We
it?
all agree it moves.
Yeah. Brenda doesn't. Brenda made her conclusion and
does.
said
I'm sure she
refraction
does.
is not involved.
Her
It's just
first
Earth
question
curve.
to you was by how much did it move? That was her first question.
Yes. And
Yeah,
that
right, so
is
how much did it
exactly
move?
it. No, this is the point. If she would have considered refraction, she wouldn't need to ask me questions. She would have said, yes, I've considered
She's
refraction, and
asking
refraction
questions
is not.
about your fucking paper.
Yes, which proves her
Yeah,
wrong
she didn't
that
answer
she
it.
should be considering refraction.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus,
Are
Glenn.
you're not understanding it. You've come in here and white knighted her and saying, Gleam, you're wrong, but I agree with you. Should you
Your
or should
paper
you not
works
account
against
for refraction in a light test like Jeranisms? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Say it again.
It's that simple. Should you account for refraction in a light test such as Jeranisms in the
Yes.
Netflix documentary?
Yes, you should. Brenda,
Well
do you
done.
agree that refraction should
That
be
is
accounted for?
that is exactly why I cited the paper, Ruhif, and that is exactly what you come in white knighting against.
No, you came in with a paper to try and disprove Brenda's assertion that it actually, proved Earth curve, right? So she asked you, how much did it move by?
What does that have to do with accounting
Because
or not
you
accounting
think it will
for?
account for that result on a flat Earth.
Ruhif,
How
right?
much did it
Listen.
move by?
How much would it have to move by? Based on Jeranism's vertical temperature
Your
profile.
paper, how much did it move by?
I told you it's 7 pixels on the screen.
Yeah, and how much is 7 pixels over what distance?
I don't know, you'll have to calculate it. I told you that
Your
then.
fucking paper. All right, I'm done.
I've given you the paper. The fact is, it moves. Brenda says, I do not need to account for refraction. That's a test that proves Earth curve. Which Brandon replied, nonsense. Of which I back him up. Of which you've come in here, told me I'm wrong, and backed me up. You're done. Yes. Bye-bye.
Yeah, Ruhif, you really did step on your own dick there.
And Rakia 100%, he said bush, and then Brenda said fish after that.
Right. Well, in terms of the first day that Jaren did the test, the laser test, he had posted on his channel, hey, anyone can come to it. So I decided to go to it and met him and a bunch of people that were there. But when we did that one, it was using a laser. And I won't go on the whole story right now, but he was trying to get a collimator. He was trying to get the beam to be collimated. But it was like 3.2 miles, I think. It was, about a little bit over 3.25 miles. Or a little under. It was a little over 3 miles. And when we were shooting that laser, we had a board that, was at the 3 mile point, and we were trying to get, the laser collimated so it would be a very, very, like a 2 foot in diameter laser beam. And we never were able to because the collimator actually got melted onto the laser itself. The threads got melted, so the whole thing was problematic for that reason. However, we were hitting the board with the laser. It was scattered. The laser light was scattered on the board, but we were hitting the board all the way to the ground. So that right there, now Jaron still didn't claim this as proof of anything because he wanted to get the light collimated to be an exact beam, But just like all the laser tested people do, they always hit the targets. There's no indication of curvature ever anywhere. So what we got was this scattered light that was hitting, all the way the bottom of the board, the middle of the board, the top of the board. So that right there indicates there was no curvature. If there was light that was able to leave that laser and hit the bottom of the board, it would be impossible if the Earth curve was there. And now I'm not going to sit here and claim that was proof of anything. Brenda apparently watched a movie and decided she came to some conclusion of proof, or she's just pushing the deceptive propaganda. But what I'm saying is, being physically there, we all saw the laser traveling straight, direct, and hitting all the way the bottom of the board, indicating a lack of any curvature whatsoever.
I thought you said it was inconclusive. Why are you making conclusive claims?
Jaron claimed it was inconclusive because he wanted to get the laser beam to be a small 2-foot circle to get that exact measurement. What I'm saying, I'm not claiming it's anything. What I'm saying is that the fact that the light hit the bottom of the board indicates that there was no curvature.
Yeah, you're making the claim right now, and you just said that it's inconclusive, but you're making that claim.
His experiment, under his definition of conclusive, was inconclusive, correct. I am telling you, being there, watching what the laser did, to me, was indicative of the lack of curvature. That's what I'm telling you.
Seems like a pretty simple observation he's making there, BioDuel. Just like this 21-mile laser test. You look at this and you go, yeah, you can see the laser source at 21 miles. I would say this indicates there's no curvature because there's no sagittale blocking the laser light. That would be my impression of this observation. That's just clearly what it shows on its face. Now you can bring stuff into
pretty
it.
Logical, Bio.
Yeah, you can bring stuff into it and say, well, no, actually the laser is bending through the atmosphere over the sagittale, and that's why you can see it. But that is a claim in itself.
Would you
from the observation, Bio, that would be the logical instant conclusion is, if it's hitting the bottom of the board, doesn't look like there's any curvature. Now then, your position, you would then go on to justify why it would hit the bottom of the board in your paradigm. So, but just as an ordinary guy standing there, you would think, oh, look at that, it's hit the bottom of the board. Maybe there's no curvature. That would be the sensible conclusion.
Well, I would just ask a simple question. Do we acknowledge that the light from a laser is affected by the atmosphere?
Yes, of course.
One of the things about it is we could visually, I hear you, but one of the things about that is that we could visually see the laser was straight. I get that that's just anecdotal, visually seeing it. But the other thing about it, if you're going to claim some kind of bending, like as if the laser was bending over the curve, the thing is, the amount of curvature that is expected, like the board, I forget the exact numbers, but I think the board was like 12 foot tall. And so he was trying to get the laser to hit at, something like 7 feet, because the curvature was 4.5 feet, something like that. So that's why he was trying to get that. But the problem is, the thing about it, like what you're saying, even if the atmosphere affected, you have this scattered light that's going out from the laser. Well, you would have, in order for refraction to be bending that around a curve, the light that we saw hitting the bottom of the board, like half of that scattered light, would have to be bending around the curve. Then the other light would have to be going straight. So now you're talking about scattered light, part of it's bending, part of it's going straight. To allow for that, it gets very
well. It wouldn't be part of it straight, the entire thing, because it comes out as a cone shape. So if you see something at the same, if you see light at the point at which the laser is set up, like the same elevation, same distance off the ground, that's just light still bending. It's just that you're seeing light at the same level because it's coming out as a cone shape. So of course, yeah.
You guys make a lot of claims with this bending light over 21 miles and whatnot. I mean, I don't really think you can back it up.
We just agreed that laser light can be affected.
About how much refraction.
Yeah,
can
but I'd be curious.
Yeah, sorry. Just to answer your question, Ruhif, in the results, if you look, it's between 1 and 6 meters. That's how much it works about.
Galeem just provided the evidence of it happening, and then you straight away question it as if we bring it up with no evidence. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to see your evidence that this laser, or any laser, is being bent around a curve of the Earth.
There's no reason to think that laser light operates differently than any other light.
Okay.
So BioDual, do you truly feel like, in your heart of hearts, in your level of discernment, I know you've never done a laser test, I would assume, but do you really think that all of the laser tests that have been done in numerous amounts at different distances, all around the Earth, and they all show a level planar Earth conclusion? Do you truly think that all of those lasers are bending and warping exactly to the 3959 radius precisely in all weather conditions to curve around the curve of the Earth to hit the target? Is that what you think?
No, of course not. I would have to see each individual experiment, and I'd have to look at their methodology. I'd have to look at the equipment that they use. I'd have to look at the distances and heights. I'd have to look at everything from each individual experiment rather than making a blanket statement. You can make a blanket statement, but very vague and very small, of any light in the traveling through the atmosphere can bend. That's the only blanket statement you can make, and we should be able to agree on that. Then we can take that information and go to each experiment and look at it, what they did.
Right. Well, I know you're maybe somewhat newer to this community. I don't know if you've been around for many, many years or how much you've researched, but I mean, that's the thing. There's numerous laser tests that have been done at different distances in different areas, different locations. And what I'm saying is that they all hit the target indicating no curvature. They all falsify the actual curvature that should be there.
So that's false.
So the only way that you could just say that that's happening is that the laser light always bends to the 3959 radius.
Nope, that's false. What I said is these laser tests have fucked up collimators. Almost every single time flat earthers do it, they have fucked up collimators. Then the initial desire and the hypothesis involves a direct beam that is collimated and a very, very specific if-then situations. If globe, then this. If flat, then this. And every single time, flat earthers can't prove anything because of fucking up the materials and the equipment that's used. So yes, the light is hitting the target, but that's not following what the hypothesis was for each shape. It's just, we have specific hypotheses and expect to see these things. We can't do that, but we have the light hitting a target.
What's wrong with this one? That's on what's wrong here? Let me share my screen and you tell us what's wrong with this one.
Said a lot there. Are you aware? Can you name one other person that did one that had a quote unquote fucked up collimator?
Yeah, FE Core.
They didn't have any problems with collimation. They did multiple.
Come on now.
We
all know that they had fucked up collimators.
Where's your proof that they had problems with collimators? They never had that.
All right, I'll provide it to you. I'm pretty sure everyone knows, but if you're unaware, I'll show you.
They had no problems with that at all. They had a $30,000 laser that was collimated perfectly. It hit a target.
Would a flat earther please correct
15 kilometers and 40 kilometers. They panned it across the water.
No, they didn't. That's a lie. They did not. Come on, man. You might want to look into that. There's no way that was right, because I remember it happening live, watching it, and they did not have a collimator. Well, they didn't do it live because they're kind of spineless like that. But who was that? What was his name? He was there in a boat. What was his name? God damn, the guy with a heavy accent.
Dr. Zach?
He's talking about sheeple, human sheeple.
Sheeple, yeah, human sheeple, yeah. He was there, remember?
Well, I don't know what you're saying there. They've done more than one laser test. They've done multiple. If you're talking about Lake Balaton, he was physically, he showed up for that, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about.
Look at Brandon's.
That's the only one they really did with that.
Brandon, can you go back? Can you go back, please?
Yeah, I want to point out that BioDual's position is that all of these laser tests that show a direct line of sight to the laser have all been fucked up. That they've all been flawed in one way or the other, and that's why we get the result.
Yeah,
where we
sure.
apparently
Now,
see the laser source.
The global ones too.
Hold on. Post this.
It's the only logical explanation, Brandon. Obviously.
Brandon,
is this the FE Core one where they have the fucked up collimator?
Hold on, Bio.
Oh, sorry, Ed.
I want to see. Hold it when you have the 2 points. Why do you see the reflection of the laser in the water if it's collimated?
That's how water works when you look at it over a light over water.
When it's collimated and its light does not hit the water, you don't see a reflection.
Right. There should be no reflection because the photons coming out of that laser shouldn't be hitting the water because it's collimated.
Outside of the direct beam of the laser, is that what you?
If it were collimated,
Did
no.
you understand it? Did you understand what I said?
No, that's silly.
If it was collimated and the beam going one direction does not never hit the water, there is no reflection.
No,
Exactly.
that's nonsense. The water's like.
Then what do you think? What do you think a
video
collimator
that
does,
proves
Brandon? What do you think a collimator does?
Show us that. Prove that. Prove your
No,
claim.
no. What do you think? What do you think a collimator does?
That a correctly collimated laser, you wouldn't see a reflection over water. Provide evidence.
No,
for that,
again,
'cause
what
that's
do you
your
think a
claim now.
collimator does?
That's
When
your
we
claim.
claim these collimators are fucked up, what do you think that a collimator
That is
does
your
under
claim.
a normal operation?
The collimator.
Right, you don't know.
What is it called?
You don't know. It's fine to not know, Brendan.
Shut up. It fucking condenses and it makes the beam tight, right? It focuses the energy.
Prevent scattering and things of that nature, right?
I want
but the thing is that
to support your claim that a correctly collimated laser will not have a reflection over a distance, over a body of water. Do you have anything to support that claim?
Doesn't sound like they do. The collimation, I think, is good to
That's
get
so
more
funny.
accuracy, but at the end of the day, you should have no light hitting these targets. It doesn't matter if it's scattered, skittered all over the place. It's light coming out of the laser. You shouldn't hit the target at all. The collimation is just that's just to get a little bit more accuracy, to get it tighter. The fact that the light is traveling and hitting the target indicates there's no sagitta earth curve in the middle of it. And that's why I asked you before, if you're going to claim that the light's bending over the 3959 radius, you then have to take every laser test that's been done. Also the mirror test, you could take a mirror to a beach right at sea level and you can reflect light miles across the water. So you have to claim that reflection is warping to the 3959. So I'm just saying, if you're going to claim that, you then have to try to claim that all these tests that we're doing, if we're talking about sending light over distances, is all perfectly curving to the 3959 radius. So where's all these?
No one is claiming that it curves exactly as the curvature of the Earth. No one.
It would have to. Do you know what the target heights, when you have a laser that's 6 foot off the water and the target's 6 foot up, and the amount of curvature, in some of these cases is 30 feet, 80 feet, 100 feet, the amount of curvature that is there, it would have to be doing that. If any light hits the target, you got a problem for the globe Earth.
No, because the collimation at the end of the beam, it's like 2 meters wide. If you watch FE cores, it was like 2 meters wide after the collimation. That's why people say it's bullshit. So you don't have to curve exactly like the radius of the Earth. Could be less, could be more.
It doesn't matter if it was that wide. The entire target shouldn't have even been visible, let alone light hitting the target. Depends on which one you're referring to, because there's different ones that they've done. But if you're talking about the 40-kilometer one, the whole thing should be under the curve. It's the same thing we see with all this. Canigoo, there should be 3,000 feet of curvature to see Canigoo. I mean, it's just over and over. It really just isn't a debate anymore. I guess we can go on and on with the Globers that are either trying to hold on to their model, or they're trying to push their model, or they're trying to keep it glued together. The reality is there just is no curvature of Earth. And so doing this back and forth is pretty pointless.
What should you see of Canigoo if the Earth is flat? What should you see?
I thought we already went over this with Joe.
Horizon means curve. I can't have a horizon on a flat Earth. And I have a flat Earth model right here in my back pocket.
That again is your claim. The horizon is the apparent junction of the sky and the ground. We know that the horizon that we see is not literally the edge of the Earth, right?
Well, then, sir, you say my mom's a liar because my mom said that the horizon is Earth curve. So thank you.
I'm sorry.
Well, your mom doesn't necessarily have to be a liar.
Brandon, screw you.
She may have honestly believed that and thought that she had done her due diligence and figured that whatever it is she's done is good enough to determine that it was indeed Earth curvature. That doesn't make her a liar. She may have honestly thought that. And
Hey,
she
Mom,
doesn't
they're
necessarily
calling you
have a
dumb, Mom.
responsibility to find out anything further.
They're
Hey,
calling me
Brandon.
dumb.
Brandon.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you see on the horizon is the sky meeting, the apparent meeting of the sky and the Earth. And all horizons are actual physical horizons. The difference between the geometric and the refracted horizon is how far it is from the observer due to the refraction of light. But you're not seeing something that's not there. It's there.
You very much are seeing something that is not there.
How so?
Well,
are you saying that that's not the real junction of the Earth and the sky that you're looking at?
Well, let's take a look at this. If you look at this horizon in the background of this picture that I'm sharing, and you'll see how it looks. Are you telling me that in here we're seeing the real horizon? There's a place like this. If I go out there, I'm going to see a place that looks like this.
And Bob, are you claiming that's the geometric horizon? Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Because it's not where it should be. That's for sure. Not what the globe Earth says. If you want to say the globe is massively larger, I guess we could talk about that, but not 3959 radius.
So, yeah. So help me understand. If this is the geometric horizon and it's just in the wrong place, please tell me how it got there.
When you say geometric, do you mean unrefracted?
No, physical feet meters values regarding your parameters of your ball.
How can you
boundaries of your ball?
Hey,
How
Data,
can you clarify, Bob?
What's another example of something you can see that's not
Where's
real?
the horizon there?
Sorry?
Where is the horizon?
The parent meeting right here. You can see it where the orange meets this darker band and then the light.
Okay, which one of those lines is the horizon?
This right here.
Okay, is that the only horizon? Is that the only horizon you see?
Are you
sure
any
that's the
definition,
real
I would
horizon?
say yeah.
That's
Or are
it.
you
It's the
sure-
meeting of the
Are you
water
sure
and the
that's the
sky.
real horizon or a false horizon?
It's the meeting of the sky and the ground. If that's how you want to define the horizon, then that's it. Yep.
What's
What
the
is
difference
real,
between a
what is the
horizon?
real horizon? What is a false horizon?
Okay, great. Very good. So you have some homework to do. What's the difference between
No,
a real
no,
horizon?
Bob. I asked you a
horizon?
question. You don't need to condescend and act like I don't know what I'm talking about. Just answer
Yeah, if
the
you're going to
question.
claim there's a fake horizon, you need to demonstrate that.
Yeah, it's a well-known effect called feta brumosa or fairy fog.
Well known then, right, Bob?
Yeah.
It's not a
You say
physical
it's well
location,
known,
right?
and yet here we are thinking it's bullcrap. You got some demonstration for that, or just it's well known?
Yeah, pull it up in Wiki. I'll go ahead and do it for you right now.
Hold on,
That's,
Bob.
that's
can
not a
you answer my
demonstration.
original? Hold
That
on.
is you referring to the internet.
Hold on, guys. So you said that this is the horizon. This is a geographic or geometric horizon. It's just in the wrong place. That's what you started off tonight
No,
saying,
when
right?
you say geometric horizon, do you mean unrefracted?
Does your heliocentric
I never said
I'm
it was
trying to
a
understand what
geometric
Bob was telling me, Ruhif. I'm talking to Bob.
You're using the term geometric horizon. What do you mean by it? Do you mean unrefracted?
Bob, can you clarify?
I got it right here for you.
What's going on with this line right here?
It's general. It's in the general chat. There you go.
Is
That's
this
what
a
the
real
feta brumosa
horizon or what?
Let's have a look. Where?
The same picture we've been talking about.
Where?
I pointed it out already.
He's on live. He's on
Where
live.
his mouse cursor is.
There's no cursor. Oh, over there, you've got it next to. Okay, I see it now. That's a false horizon.
What does that mean?
It means it's a feta brumosa. It's a
Okay,
false
so-
horizon. That's not the actual horizon.
So this isn't a real place then. That I wouldn't, if I went out there, I wouldn't find this out there.
Not what he's saying, Brandon.
I'm not talking to you, Ruhif. I don't know why you keep white knighting for Bob.
He doesn't need to
I
white
don't know why
knight.
you can't answer the question.
Evidently, he thinks he does, Bob.
It's not fog.
He's
is it?
excited
It's
to
not
be
an
here, Brendan.
overhanging wall or fog, is
I'm
it?
fine with
That's
it.
what your definition is.
I don't have any problem with
It's not
anything Ruhif is
fog.
saying. He's more than welcome to
Not
talk about
fog,
it
is
all
it,
he
Bob?
wants.
Fog is not causing that.
But
is
no,
it,
that's
Bob?
that's not the true horizon there.
That's
hold
not-
on, Bob.
okay, so
Dana was
what is
trying to
going
speak-
on? Why am I seeing a horizon here, Bob?
Did you look at the link that I posted
Why am
in
I
chat?
seeing a horizon in this position, this apparent position?
That's a false horizon.
Why is it there? Why is there a false horizon behind these two oil rigs?
It's an effect of refraction. It's called a
Why
fed
don't
up
I see a
remote.
horizon in front of the oil rig instead?
Not called a fed up remote.
Well, actually, you
Hold
do.
on.
With fog.
It's hidden in that false horizon.
It's
you can find
hidden,
it
so I
easily.
don't
It's
see it then if it's hidden, right, Bob?
Exactly.
Yeah, but you can measure it though. That's fine.
How would I measure the horizon? Where is it in here? You say it's hidden, and then you tell me I can measure it.
Measure it,
Brandon. I am so sure you mentioned that.
Okay.
So where you would find the true horizon is by looking at the oil rigs and looking at where the lowest point on those oil rigs that you could see was. That's where the true horizon is. And by the way, I invited you to discuss this. Are you going to be coming? And if so, what day is working for you?
That's nonsense, Bob. So you're telling me that there is a horizon in front of part of this oil rig, or is it in front of part of this oil rig that's hiding it?
I'm looking at the second one myself.
Okay, so the horizon is behind the first oil rig.
I don't know. I haven't looked at the first oil rig. I'm looking at the second one.
I think we've heard it all.
Oh man,
that's fine.
Oh my god.
Because you shouldn't see this one either, Bob.
Why?
Is this front one hidden by the real horizon?
I don't know.
You
Haven't
didn't
looked
look
at
at
it.
this during your analysis?
No, I'm looking at the second one.
You're just focusing on this back here.
Correct.
You're grasping at straws, my friend.
Yeah, but I'm still doing it though.
Do you even look at the link?
I'm still grasping at straws. Absolutely true. You are definitely still doing it. Just riding the wave of.
I'm fine with it.
Grasping.
That image has never really been analyzed. I'm doing it Monday.
Okay.
By the way, the link you posted,
Catch up.
Bob, it says in which the flat and uniformly illuminated surface of the sea appears as a vertical or slightly overhanging wall of fog. So, are you now saying that the sea is flat by you posting this? Is that what you're saying?
Looks flat to me.
Okay, so the Earth is flat then.
No, it's not.
Because water's flat. You just posted that it's talking about
You
flat
just
water.
said it.
Do you have a different definition of flat or what?
The horizon is a uniform.
Water is flat. Earth is sphere.
The
That's
water
what
is
you're doing,
a uniform distance below my horizontal. Yes.
In
Sand.
which the flat and uniformly illuminated surface of the sea. That's what it says. So,
Which is
so do you-
exactly what you'd also see on a sphere, but you know that, right? You know,
You've converted
Of course
BG. I'm a
not.
flat earther now.
Of course not. You would never see flat water on a sphere. You would see curved
You
water.
would always see it on a.
You would see measurably curved water, and none of us would be here if we all did laser.
You would
testing.
always
Yeah, you
see
would.
it. That you know
Yeah, you
what?
would.
That's all you'd ever see on a sphere. Earth is flat stuff, guys.
Brandon, you would all be there. Brandon, you would all be there because you have conspiratorial mindsets and you want to be part of a group.
We're not
That's
talking
why
about
you're
the
there.
Earth.
You
We're
wanted to
talking
believe
about
the Earth is
hang on,
flat.
Bob. What the Earth is, if the Earth is a level plane, that isn't a conspiracy. There are people who are telling us it's a globe and saying pictures. Who cares about those people? The Earth is just the Earth. It's nature. That's not a conspiracy. The
No,
Earth is Earth.
conspiracy
The Earth
that
is
you're being
nature.
lied to about the shape of the Earth.
There are people who lie. Who cares about those people? I don't listen to what they say. That they may be trying to conspire to deceive people. That doesn't matter. What the Earth is, or the Earth being flat, is just nature in and of itself, and or observable reality. It has nothing to do with a conspiracy.
And nature dictates it's a sphere. So who's lying to you about the shape of the Earth? Who's them?
Nature dictates it's a sphere.
Of course it does.
That's did the
Nature
tree speak
dictate
to you
anything.
directly, or
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was
did it
wondering.
use
Bob.
an intermediary?
Well,
to
you
speak to
figure that out. You figure that
Did it
out.
use a
was it?
stenographer? How did it dictate that to you?
It's the
Well,
dictator
well,
that
well,
nature.
The Earth looks flat. It dictates
Nature's
it's
a dictator,
very
true,
flat,
Bob.
but yet nature says it's a sphere. Okay.
Well, Bob, I don't think you're in the flat Earth community.
Is this Dr. Bob character claiming divine inspiration from nature? Is that the idea?
No, he's nature's secretary. Nature dictates to him all the time. He writes memos.
All right, Bob. I tell you what. I'll come over to your show and talk about the second oil rig. Just let me know when.
Excellent.
Go ahead and give me a good time for you, man. I'll work around your schedule.
See, unfortunately,
Okay.
Brandon, what these guys want is airtime. They want us on their shows. You know what I mean? Like, that's one of the challenges. They win. I'm not telling you not to do a show. Do anything you'd like, of course. But the problem is that every time they get us arguing, they get us going back and forth about this stuff, they get us going on their shows and taking away our time and energy. See, that's why they all, Ruhit said excellent and Bob said yes. That's what they want. I'm not saying don't go on a show. I'm just saying in general, that's what they want. They crave the airtime so that they can keep doing what they're doing, so that we don't actually get this message out to more people. That's their goal.
There goes another
Whether you're there or not, I offered as courtesy to invite you. If you don't want to come, that's fine.
I said
I don't really care if you're there or not. My viewers don't care if you're there or not.
Wait a second.
Okay.
Wait a second.
Will there be jelly
we
at the
have, we
party?
have the majority. What do you mean more people? What are you talking about more people? There's 7 million people that think it's a globe, and there's like 50,000 that think it's not a globe.
Yeah,
Bob, you can be lucky that we
6.999
found
million
just
of that.
people that know the truth.
Yeah, of those 7 billion people,
Brandon, what time is
6.999 don't even know what the radius of the Earth is. They're all clueless. They just blindly believed it. They don't.
Yeah,
And
don't know what the radius of the Earth
100% of flat earthers don't know what the
Brandon,
radius
what's
of a flat
time
earth
this
is.
weekend for you?
exactly.
There is no radius of a flat Earth.
Exactly, Gio. Exactly.
Why would there be a radius of a flat
Exactly,
level
Gio.
surface?
Yeah, exactly.
Why would a disc?
These guys are
a disc would
clowns.
have a radius. A disc has.
Brandon, did
Who
you
says it's
answer?
a
When's a good time to get together?
Can I just say
I'll ping you in
6.225
Discord,
miles?
Bob.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right. See you guys later.
Yep, see
I
you.
love when people say like most globe earthers
The one who,
and the
the one
human
who said it was
population
a
don't
disc
know
was
these
the one who
specific things.
doesn't believe in
But then when you ask flat
anymore,
earthers
apparently.
anything about their world, they can't answer shit.
That's
It's all
not
just
true.
globe denying. It's
That's
not.
not
It's
true.
not flat Earth.
That's not true at
proponents.
all.
There's really
Do you
not
guys know
much
the
to deny.
definition of a meter?
Biodual. You guys really don't have that much. You got a couple
Well,
parlor
you
tricks and
you
some
deny everything,
insistence.
but there's no good
I measured
reason.
the curve myself, Brandon. You know that. You've seen it.
Yeah, we already went over that. You've
Yeah,
got,
but there's no
unfortunately, you've
question
got
about the
contradictory
radius.
beliefs.
Did
There's
you
no
understand
question
that?
about the radius being bigger or smaller. The meter is defined by part of the circumference of the Earth. That's how it was originally defined.
Here's
So
something
yes, the
basic.
globe.
Something basic like gravity. I just posted this in the chat. I'm performing the experiment. I'm live streaming this Saturday, but I've already ran a few tests. What you see there, I've labeled them ANM and AWM, the red and orange. It's essentially under atmospheric, no mass, atmospheric with mass. You see a deviation. Something as basic as gravity is denied tooth and nail. And it just took me a very short amount of time to show that mass attracts mass.
Well,
so
we
when
don't
it's something
deny that
basic
things
like this,
fall down. What are you talking about?
no, mass attracts mass. I just specified it, didn't I?
Well, yeah, that's
so something
because
basic
there-
like this being
that's
denied,
because there
something
isn't
basic like this being
scientific
denied,
evidence.
leads me to believe that all of your denials are based in
Your
baseless claims.
scientific evidence for mass attracting mass is pretty fucking weak. And we don't need it as an explanation for what we see.
Actually, you do.
You do.
We don't.
Experiment. It's not weak at all.
I've got a question. Can I ask a really
Did you
simple
eliminate
question?
all the other exterior factors?
The force of
Question
gravity.
for
is weak, I'll give
Brandon.
you that,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes,
Question
Clean,
for
to the
Brandon.
best
You
of my
said the
ability,
evidence is weak, right?
So it's
Do
in a
you think
Faraday
the
cage.
evidence for a flat Earth is
Yes, copper mesh.
stronger than that of a globe?
I think it's extremely strong.
Profound.
Wow.
Empirical,
What is
first-hand
To the
your
point
evidence.
where you've got no idea of
What is your
the
best proof?
radius or anything, or how anything works.
Well, if you don't just believe stories that demonic authorities tell you,
Oh, Jesus,
if you
Gio.
actually look at the information directly, there's absolutely zero proof for a globular Earth anywhere.
Incorrect.
Looking at and
Nice try.
understanding are not always the same thing.
Well, you can be told stories and believe authorities all day long.
You can
but that's
measure
not.
it. for
That
you,
doesn't
Gio.
mean you're
Yeah,
accurate.
or you can test
You
it.
can measure it yourself, Gio.
Yeah. How many times have I measured the Earth?
Zero.
No,
I've
I've
got
got
at least 3 videos.
exactly 0 times. Nope. I just did it. By Babs, I did
Shut
myself.
up,
You can do
Jill.
it
You haven't
too.
done nothing.
I measured the Earth. I did. Babs can do it too. So can you, idiot.
How many times you guys done the Eratosthenes experiment? You flat Earth scholars, you.
Well, put a stick in the ground.
Eratosthenes waste of
Zero
time.
needed
Why would we
because
do
it
the
is-
Babs? It's not the waste of time. It's a measurement, Babs. You can do it yourself.
Yeah, you put a stick in the ground and you measure the shadow.
That's correct. And then you do a
And
little
Neil,
bit of math.
Neil deGrasse
I know the math
Tyson
is
says it
tough.
works on both models.
The math is tough. It requires, trigonometry,
Yeah.
which girls like Babs never studied because they're just, they study home ec and stuff.
Why are you saying that?
I saw a
Because
shape though.
in-
It's a sphere.
Guys,
Because she has decided
in
that
2021, all we've got is a
Maybe
stick in the ground and a
Maybe not.
shadow. That's what
Maybe not.
that's still
That's how
coming up
easy
with.
it is.
Someone
How
else
can
say
you
you
guys
know
not
that's
know
not
what's
how
going on?
that
how
doesn't
easy
work.
it is.
A stick in the ground.
Stick in the
Fucking
ground.
easy it is. You don't need
Yeah,
any
That's how easy it
expensive
is.
equipment. You don't need any expensive equipment. You need a stick. You need
Can someone else just hang on? Someone else just tell me that's how easy it is.
Maybe
I'll
not.
tell you, everyone who's
Sure,
done the experiment, everyone who's done the experiment seems to agree with
Tony.
it.
Anyone else tell me how easy it is?
Anyone who's done the
Figure out
experiment
the radius
agrees with
of
the
the Earth.
experiment.
We'll figure out the radius of the Earth using that oil rig. How's that sound, Brandon?
You don't have to.
Quite the trick.
The circumference of the Earth.
Yep.
The
Very
experiment
easy.
was that the
Use
circumference
the
of the Earth is
shadows.
defined as 40,000 kilometers. That's what a meter is originally.
Who cares how they defined it? Why do you keep bringing this up?
That is.
Because
That's how a meter
you
was.
said before, it could be a bigger ball. If
I
it's
don't
a
think I said
ball,
that. Maybe
it
somebody
literally
did.
is 40,000 kilometers in circumference.
Okay,
That's how they defined the meter originally.
Except Ruhip, there's never been
true.
any measurement directly under the North Pole
But there
center
has been. No,
to the
under the
equator. No, there has
There's
not.
never been
Not
a
one.
direct measurement over
If
the
you go look at the
Bermuda
calculations for the
Triangle.
meter, if you go look at the calculations for the meter,
What?
it's an abstract calculation for the 10,000 and
Are you
whatever
saying
the,
a ship's never plotted its course through the Bermuda Triangle?
I'm talking
No,
about
I was talking shit, Bob. I was talking shit to them.
Gotcha.
talking about the measurement from the North.
Hey, a couple super chats to read. It's been a while, so I'm gonna get them out of the way here. Much appreciated, by the way. James Mays, $20. What's up, Brandon? Hello to the panel. Welcome to Flat Earth, folks. And Gordzilla 37, $5. If Brenda was forced to only say the truth, it would then have nothing to say. Boy, she sure does obfuscate a ton. It's ridiculous. And the science of science, $5. The only evidence globe believers ever provide is not flat equals a globe, which is a huge leap in logic. Sticks and shadows equal not flat, so thus a globe. Yeah, it could be something else too. Maybe there's a gentle slope to the Earth. Who knows? Who knows? I tend to think that it's perfectly horizontal is level. Therefore, we live on a flat plane. Makes a ton of sense to me. But yeah, who knows? Thanks, Science of Science.
Question is that?
Well, you don't think navigation's important? Don't you need to have a map of some sort? Do you have a map of the flat Earth that I could use to maybe plan a flight?
No, you do not need a map to navigate.
No, yes, you do. How do you navigate without a map? Without knowing where you are?
Listen to Babs say something really
You
interesting.
use the stars in the sky. How they used to before they made the map.
Stars are a map.
Idiot.
No, they're the
Stars are map.
No, a map is
Go back to cooking and clean house like you should.
Anyway, Bob,
Brandon.
I've got a
I
figure
can
you can
navigate
use.
to the bathroom and take a dump without a map. Navigating's easy.
Where do you want to go? I can draw you a map of your path. Well, I mean, give me two cities.
South
I'll give you
America,
a
South
map.
America to Africa, Africa
That's
to
not a map.
Australia.
That's not a
All
map.
right.
That's just a legend.
Can you please draw an accurate
Draw a
map?
circle on a piece of paper and call it South Africa. Then draw another circle a little ways away from it and connect them with the line.
You're doing great.
There you go.
You're doing
There
great.
you go.
Flat Earth is prospering.
Well,
everyone.
it's a map.
The globe
It'll
is
work.
over.
Probably the best flat Earth map I've seen, Brandon.
You may not like
Globe is
the
over.
map.
Well played.
You may not think it's as useful as you would appreciate, or
It's not
that
useful
you
at all, Babs.
desire.
And you know it.
Why do you keep calling Bob Dole Babs?
Because
sounds like Babs.
he's decided that he can she has decided that she can call other people by the wrong gender. So I'm going to call him by the wrong gender.
Yeah, you're right. What's up, Babs?
She has decided that she has
we're not gonna go to this
internal
bullshit
knowledge
again,
and who she
Curious.
can
Guys.
I'm curious, NASA. How long are you going to be this upset and let me live in your head rent free over the fact that I
You don't
called
live
a
in my
male
head,
a male?
Babs. You don't
Please,
live in my head,
explain
Babs,
to me
trust
how
me.
long that's going to go on.
I don't trust you. I don't think about you at all, Babs, at all.
You live in his
Yeah, clearly you don't give me a single thought ever.
I don't
No
trust.
shit,
I
bud.
don't
give you
think
a
about
single
you.
thought, you know?
As
I mean, I've used my, just like you do. I've used my knowledge, and I've decided to call you by the gender that I think you are. So, therefore,
As
you're a
productive,
girl.
as productive.
He didn't
as
choose
this is,
his gender.
as productive as this is, and how much it's awesome. Gleam, I heard you ask about a Faraday cage earlier. I was wondering what else do you think I should account for?
Thank you.
Well, the slowly varying magnetic field of Earth.
What? And how do I account for it? I understand that anybody can provide variables and just say, what about this? I'm asking you,
There's
what's
this
the
thing
thing
called
and how
mu
do I
metals.
provide it?
It's pretty expensive, really. It's mu metals. I don't expect you to have it.
No, again, how do I account for it? In what way do I use
Metals, Mu, and then
MU?
metal. Yeah, Mu, and then metals. Similar to a Faraday cage, but it's like an encased safe.
Oh, just nickel iron? Is that it? I could find a nickel iron mesh and then just.
I think it's a special alloy that they create
Hey, Croax.
for it. It's not a standard.
Yeah. Like unobtainium or something.
Yeah, Croax. You know, here's the beauty
Osmium.
of doing an experiment. If you do an experiment and publish your findings and somebody comes up and says, well, you didn't account for this, guess who's responsible for proving that?
The person who brought it up.
Actually reproduce it and show that their objection actually has relevance. So, have at it.
Preach.
Amen. Amen.
So you're going to reproduce the Black Swan on
Amen,
this
brother Bob.
show. Cool.
We don't
Black
disagree
Swan's
with
been debunked all
refraction.
sorts of times. I mean,
We don't
let us
disagree with
know.
refraction. That's
You
No,
guys
the
go
second
almost
one
any
that he
day
was
and
just
see
on about
where
then.
it is supposed. And the day that
Calm
they
down,
took that
Paige.
picture was a very uncommon
Paige,
day.
calm down.
Oh,
Calm
clean,
down. They're having
clean,
a
clean,
show on
clean,
it.
yeah, clean, clean,
If it was
clean.
debunked, they wouldn't be having a show on it, bro.
Oh, because you guys don't give a shit about facts. See, that's the thing.
No, we're going to go ahead and actually analyze
That's
the
hilarious.
actual Black Swan image and see what it actually shows. Because you've got a lot of people out there saying what they think it shows or what it should show based on their understanding of nature.
Yeah, Bob, let's talk
But
about
we're going to
how
see what it
does
actually
show.
does show.
Yeah, let's
And
talk about
I
that
think
for a
you're going to be a
second.
little surprised.
So Bob, can I falsify the idea that a 1 foot observer would have a horizon line at 1.22 miles away? Can I falsify that statement?
See here, we'll make a little bet. How much of the Black Swan
Hold
oil
on,
rig is
hold
hidden
on.
below the horizon?
Hold
What
on.
about the 4 days
Again,
before that made it look like it was flat?
you can run off. You can run off into your.
Well, no. Let's
you
check
can
the
run off
flat
into,
earthers
no.
and their
We're going to start from the
discernment.
basics. We're going to.
How much of
start
that Black
at the
Swan
basics.
image
No,
is hidden below the horizon? How much of that
Bob,
platform?
Don't be afraid.
Hey, Bob, can you
I'm
hear
not gonna,
Data?
I'm not going to.
Data's speaking.
Data's not
No, I
speaking.
can't.
Data is rambling.
Data is speaking. If you guys have him muted, please don't speak over him.
Data's trying to fundy mute Bob.
Hey,
That's what
I'm
he's doing.
trying to go to the basics
Yeah,
of the
but you know, if you
observation
actually
and
look
the
at that,
model.
see how
I'm sorry.
Bob, I'm going to mute you because you apparently have Data muted. I'll unmute you in a second, but Data was speaking. Go ahead, Data.
Yeah. So Bob, you want to wonder. You should wonder if you could falsify this.
He dropped off. He's very sensitive.
mod abuse. He left because of mod abuse.
He has you. That's not mod abuse. He has you locally muted, so he's just speaking over you. That's not mod abuse. That's
actually,
show abuse that
Data
he's
was
speaking
speaking
over
over
other
him, but-
people.
That's
I was
definitely
trying to
not
ask
mod
Bob
abuse.
a question. Can I falsify?
well, maybe you should complain to the
Brenda,
mods.
Brenda, can I falsify the idea that a 1 foot observer has to see a horizon line 1.22 miles away? Can I falsify that idea?
The geometric horizon, you mean?
No, just what I'm saying. Can I falsify that at a 1 foot height?
That's the geometric
My horizon. Hold on, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking whether I can falsify that idea. At 1 foot height is the horizon 1.22 miles away. Can I falsify that idea?
Which
Well,
horizon?
you have to explain why the 4 observations before showed a globe, and only 2 of them showed whatever you guys
So
say.
do you understand? Does anybody understand what I'm asking?
Yes, nobody wants to answer your question.
No, I'll
That's
bite.
really the point.
Explain
Nobody's
because it's
exactly
a globe.
game to
I must be
Explain
muted
to
because
the
I'll
people
say
saying
no.
globe.
Stupid line of questioning.
I'll
He's
respond.
confused.
I'm
Once
gonna
again, he's
I'm gonna
conflating
ask
the
it.
geometric
I'm just
and the
gonna ask it.
horizon.
No, stop.
I'm just gonna
That's
ask
fine.
it.
I'll
You don't have
answer.
to ask it. You already asked it. We
It's
heard
fine.
it.
I'll answer.
Can I falsify that?
You just with that information, no other information. Yes, there's a potential to falsify it. Sure.
Okay, hold on.
Falsifying it,
Can I falsify this statement? At 1 foot high, the horizon is 1.32 miles away due to refraction. Can I falsify that statement?
Oh, now we're introducing refraction.
Sure.
You could
Why not?
falsify it. You could falsify it if you knew the variables involved with refraction. Sure, you could falsify it.
Okay, so you could have landmarks, right?
Well, that wouldn't be the only information. You would need other information that goes into refraction. But yes, you can
you could
potentially
have
falsify it
landmarks
still.
right? Yeah. Okay, so that's what the whole argument is about, essentially, and it doesn't matter what Bob runs off into the forest, picking mushrooms and smoking a couple of doobies.
Wait a second. Do you think that landmarks is what makes refraction? Like you can only tell by landmarks because really
is that where you're going?
Pressure and temperature and stuff like that.
Did you take mushrooms? Did you take mushrooms too?
You said that. Well, that's the one thing you said. You said landmarks.
Okay.
Right there.
Is it not barometric pressure? Is that more important than landmarks?
Okay. Yeah.
Is temperature more important than landmarks?
The point is you can falsify it, right? So it's been falsified. Now the best part about it is it has to have.
No, it hasn't, because you don't have that information. We don't have the information that was specified for refraction. Your example was landmarks, but landmarks have nothing to do with refraction and causing refraction or different levels of refraction.
Do these guys sound like they're a bunch of chickens with their heads cut off?
Really? You're the one sitting here saying
that's what you sound like.
Make refraction.
Why can't you just let Data get... Data's going somewhere with this. Why can't you just let him get there and then argue with him instead of interrupting?
Because he started with landmarks.
He doesn't stop.
Tony, just let him get there, mate, and then have a fight.
Because it's you. Because it's you, though. I'm gonna let him do it.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks.
You're welcome. No problem.
The point is that there are parameters and boundaries to your model, and a lot of calculations are based on that derived constant, which is 3959. Right? Now, granted, you guys claim it's not a sphere and it's an oblate spheroid, which there's alternate calculations for. Not once do I ever see you add in these calculations, and what I do see is you use Euclidean to justify your spherical interpretation. There's already formulas you can use that take the ellipsoid nature into account, but you don't bother with that. You use Euclidean.
Have one.
The point
you
is,
bother with the real information, which is the barometric pressure.
Units, let alone the correct
just a small example. Just a small example. We also use 8 inches per mile squared. We also use that because it's a good approximation for the discussion that we're having. If we were geodetic surveyors, yes, of course we would use the ellipsoid formulas. Of course we would take into account our latitudes. Of course we would. I'm going to get to the end. You were allowed to get to the end. I'm going to get to the end.
I would love to see
can you fight for me?
You started with landscape.
Hold on.
Run me through that.
Stop.
None of these debates.
Let Bio come back. Let him respond, man. Come on.
You're right. There are better formulas for very specific for specificity as well as real world application with ranges of accuracy. You're 100% correct. For this discussion, we use approximations that are good enough, such as 8 inches per mile squared. But we know at long distances, we know that to break down.
You don't use the right math, buddy.
It's good enough for the discussion.
It's good enough.
When we talk about the radius of the Earth and making these calculations, the 3959 is good enough for these discussions, of course.
Right.
And if you guys had barometric pressure or temperature or anything, you might have something with this, but you don't.
Are you claiming the wrong math is good enough for this discussion?
The approximation, the same way that Flat Earth Data brought up small angle approximation a couple days ago for large angles, it's close to a degree, but it's fine for the discussion.
What's the difference between $1 and 90 cents? Guys,
5 cents.
Bunch of chickens with your heads cut off. It's all good.
Flat Earth Data, I have a question. I want to know what's the difference of a drop for the small radius and the big radius, and you know which one is the big one and which one is the small. Do you?
See, I don't understand the question when we're talking about falsifying the 1 foot. Listen, we're falsifying the 1 foot. 1.2.
No, you were saying that
now you want to talk about a big drop. You're talking about a big drop versus a little drop.
You say this is a problem for the globe. I say it is not, unless you tell me how far it is.
No. What's the problem for the globe? Clarify what I'm saying.
You say that the oblate spheroid, we don't use that mathematics. So I'm asking you if you use the equatorial radius,
or do you use Euclidean
or the polar radius. If you use polar radius or equatorial radius, how far off you get for the drop? You don't know.
Sometimes it could be 10 miles, 10 kilometers. It's one of those two.
Well, show me your calculations. Show me your calculations that you based your point of view on.
That's their calculations, not mine.
Show us our calculations.
So don't say it is wrong, or it doesn't work, or it's not accurate. If you don't know how far bad it is, then don't say it.
So
can you please tell us?
I will say it because there's 5 calculations regarding an oblate spheroid that you don't use. What you do use
is an 8-inch calculation which can be derived from perspective.
Tell me
It
how
literally,
inaccurate
listen,
it is.
literally,
No,
it
I'm
literally
asking
comes
you.
from, listen, it literally comes
No, I don't
from
need
the,
to listen. I want to know how far off would be the results.
He
And if we
doesn't.
don't have them,
well, the
why
radius,
do you know
the
them?
radius would change. The radius would change basically in your calculations. But I'd have to sit down and go through them again. But if you want, there's at least 5 abstract calculations you use in calculating the oblate spheroid.
Then why are there
Primarily-
5 if you said if we don't use them? There's obviously 5. Someone's used them 5
because
times.
they're wrong.
Exactly.
Because they're wrong, right?
I mean, come on. You just said there's 5 of them. So someone's thought about it so much that they made it 5 different ways of doing it. Think about what you say.
They're all wrong.
Right,
They're all
because
wrong. They're all wrong. They're
these
all
discussions
wrong
require just
theories,
one
right?
approximation just for
So
the
it's just
discussion.
like you guys using your parabola calculation of 8 inch per mile square. It's wrong, right? It's only
It's
valid.
not wrong. It's a good approximation for small
Yeah,
distances.
there you go. So are those other calculations. In other words, none of them are accurate. They're all incongruent to each other. They don't match. They all vary. That's the point.
But by how much? By how much data?
No, the point is that there's 5
some of them are way
observations
off,
of the
yeah.
same observation that show a globe, and there's only 2 that show
Anyway.
it. What do you guys say?
Going back to the calculation.
And they're
1
only a foot high, too.
1.22 yeah, 1 foot observer, 1.22 miles away. This is what you're, and here's the best part about my book is that there's a section in there where I interview average Joes, people who are not familiar with the debate. People who aren't familiar with the debate, aren't familiar with the scripted argument that's 100 years old. The point is, or thousands of years old, to be honest, within the last 100 years scheduled formatted. But the point is, this is not in the realm of actual logical reasoning or thinking. You take any average Joe that works with the land, a farmer, whatever. When you say 1 foot off the ground and the horizon of the Earth, the ball Earth, which everything starts to converge, go down over, is 1.22 miles away. It's absurd. It doesn't make sense.
But it does show
The best part about I'm almost done. I'm almost done.
You
I'm
wasted
almost
all
done.
that oxygen for
I'm
that.
almost done.
I hope it gets
I'm almost
better.
done. The best part is that you guys are bringing in that kind of argument and claiming that 1 mile away from the observer height off the ground is actual physical Earth curve. It's absolutely the biggest fucking farce and joke. You guys are just, it's embarrassing. It's so easily falsified. It's so easily falsified. It's just retarded that you
When
don't
you
even
ignore
acknowledge
refraction, yeah, it looks falsified. You're right.
Yeah, except for the 5 fucking pictures
at
of it
medium,
before.
dude. It doesn't change the surface of the Earth. You understand? It just, and by the way, you still need a normal, which is a straight vertical line to measure any kind of refraction to begin with, which is also horizontal and perpendicular to that. So,
here, real quick, it's a very specific point, and it's gonna feel good. Data, do you remember a couple days ago when you were talking with Rumpus about the small angle approximation and the calculations that you were using? You remember how off you were? No, stop. Do you remember how off you were?
Listen, when you
Well,
take a
there it
degree,
is. He knows.
when you take
He
a
knows.
degree,
Oh, he's not gonna let
when
you
you take
finish
a
it for some
degree,
reason. Why aren't
when
you
you
letting him
take a degree, when you take a degree and times it by pi first, you can turn it back into radians. I was doing it backwards, which I just made an easy mistake. It's the radians times the 180 over pi to get you to the degree. So it's just a reverse calculation that you can do.
You said, hold on.
At the end of the day, it's not. Hey, listen, it's not fake, and it works real, and it works exactly right.
Okay, hold on.
Try it right now.
Flat Earth, do you remember when you said
just say data,
no, I'm going to call you Flat Earth now.
Let him finish it, man.
6 feet divided by 15,840 feet times 180 over pi gives you 0.0217 degrees. This is consistent if you do the arctangent. Go ahead and try it.
No, it is. Hold on, Tony. Hold on. No, because this only works for small angle approximations. But when you brought it up to Rumpus,
matter.
Again, I'm going to
Here's
get
the
to
best
the
part
end,
about
man.
it. Here's the best part of it.
Geo,
it's not
Hey, come on, man. You got to let him at least finish. We're only getting half the
Brandon,
conversation.
This guy has to realize this is not my formula. I took this off.
You said it.
You
presented
give him a chance to respond.
Yeah, these people are fighting the shit that I represent from physics class. That's the
okay.
whole.
Awesome, great.
This is how bad it is, dude.
Yeah, but Data, you gotta let him
bizarre.
speak. You have to let him be
I know,
able
but
to
they're
say his
bizarre.
side.
I'm taking this from a physics class.
Stuff you misunderstood
6
from
feet,
physics.
Stop.
6
Hold on.
feet.
It's a very
divided
specific
by
point.
15,840 feet.
I know.
times
You're getting into the go by it.
degree.
Just
It's
It's
Data,
not fucking made up
I
shit.
can't talk over people.
Data, just
It's
let him
not
say
made
it,
up
and then
shit,
you can
though.
rebut it.
Data, he's going to get to the end. Just let him get to
Biodual,
the end.
it's
Come
not
on.
I mean, at some
made
point I
up
will.
shit.
I'll wait for him though.
I know, man. I know.
Yeah,
I'm trying to help you.
Yeah, it's all
It's
good.
not made up shit, Biodual. That's what
Okay,
you're fighting against.
so let me make
Listen,
specific
when
points.
no, let me finish. When I was
Data,
when
he
I
never
was
got to
instructed this
fucking
stuff,
finish, man. Come on, man.
because he keeps interrupting
Let
me,
him
so I just
finish.
go off
No,
the
you
point.
keep
I go off the
interrupting
point of
him.
battle against him.
You
Yeah,
guys-
but this
Finally,
guy here
Brandon,
is
I'm
full of
agreeing with
shit.
Brandon for a change.
I know he's full of shit. Just respond to him afterwards. Get
This
it.
math comes from a physics class. And he's like, well, that's only good for small. Dude, I learned that way so I didn't have to have a calculator to do the arctangent. I could just do this quick calculation, or better yet, 57.3. So take whatever
Yes,
rise over
understood
1
it.
times it by 50. You don't understand what you're
So
talking
I'm gonna.
about.
All right, now
I'll-
let him
I'll
respond,
address that
Data.
correctly.
Let him
Take any
respond.
rise and run.
I'll
Take any
address.
rise and run. Take any rise and run times it by 57.
No, I've never
Data.
seen this before.
I had to mute
I
you
appreciate
because
whoever
you
did
won't
that, I
shut the
appreciate
fuck
it.
up
Oh,
after repeatedly people have asked you to let him finish. Now just chill out for a minute.
So I understand that you said rise over run. What you're talking about is small angle approximation in which the angles are extremely small. Just like we use 8 inches per mile squared for small distances, because it's good enough and it's fine for what we're talking about. But when you talk about large angles, such as the one that Rumpus was providing a few days ago with the midpoint looking up and down on a building, blah, blah, blah. I did those calculations. Rise over run, it was 100 meters over, or 100 pixels divided by 500 pixels times 180 divided by pi gave 11.45. Rumpus, using the arctan, came to 12.2 or something like that, and the same with your second one. So I understand rise over run times 180 over pi. Great for small angles, not great for these large angles, despite you wanting them to be good. So if your problem is that we're approximating incorrectly and that it's wrong, the same applies to what you brought forth to the table with this rise over run times 180 over pi. So you're talking out of both of your mouths. I'm fine with the approximations for these discussions, but if we were to apply them in the real world and we needed high accuracy, of course we wouldn't approximate.
Where's his other mouth at?
Go ahead, Data.
Calculations, they stand as they are, and they work for the Rayleigh criterion as where they're derived from. Do you understand? So I'm using angular lines of light based on the human eye using those calculations derived from physics. So you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. When you say talking out the side of your mouth, the point is these calculations are viable. They are congruent to a certain, let's say, limitation, like you're saying, over larger angles. The point is I'm using these angles based on optics and perspective and deriving the apparent circumference of the Earth using these small angles. As you like to say.
What's the calculation perspective? What's the oh my god, what's it? Perspective. What's the perspective?
So I'm talking about the Rayleigh criterion. There's many ways you can do it. It all derives from a circular aperture.
Reasoning.
So everything that we see is calculable through geometry, right? That we devise through optics, right? And then through the measuring, we also devise that conceptually, because there's no person in the 1537 that went to the North Pole to measure from the North Pole to the equator.
Why would you have to? It's a globe.
Yeah. Anyway,
it's a ball.
It's all derived from optics and geometry. So you can look at it two ways. If you want to ignore refraction one moment and then not use refraction, use refraction the next.
You are literally.
This is your bullshit argument. This is your bullshit. This is your bullshit. The thing is, you can falsify the 1 foot 1 mile away.
Are the 5
you can
days
falsify that shit?
They show it
it's
as that
easy
bullshit?
because you can falsify the 1 foot observer 1 mile away shit, dude. As the horizon bendy things going over. It's that easy to falsify the geometrical calculation.
Everyone that believes in the black swan, you guys, there's 5 observations showing it as a globe. You guys know that, right? There's not just
What do you
2.
mean believe in the black swan? Do you think that we're using that as evidence that the Earth is flat?
I think you're using it as evidence that it's not what we say it is.
We're using it as evidence to falsify this idea that you can optically measure the shape and the size of the Earth based on the position of the horizon.
But when you have all the information, like the temperature, barometric pressure of that area, you can. and that's been proven.
No,
that
because
applies
you
also
haven't
for the flat Earth.
substantiated your assumptions in that case.
That's been St. Bees that did it. Did that? St. Bees totally everything you need to know about refraction is in St. Bees at Nathan Oakley's first 150 shows. Everything is in those shows.
No, because you guys base it on these small experiments in a lab setting that aren't applicable to the really dynamic situations that we see at long distances.
Make observations.
Yeah.
And we have tons of observations that
and they match.
point to it being a very complex optical phenomena happening over those long distances that don't comport with this simple model that you give us.
The green flag shows exactly how it comports with the globe model.
Of course, everything to you, Brenda, comports with the globe model.
Brenda, just out of curiosity, just out of curiosity, for a 6-foot observer to the horizon, can he use like state plane coordinates or Cartesian coordinates just between that? Like, let's say we put a marker between the apparent horizon and the observer, and we had a big like flag there. Do you think I could map that area out with straight parallel lines and 90 degree right angles?
You could do that, but over a larger area, it would start to diverge.
Oh, okay. So if I did it between that point and that marker, and then I just move forward to the next marker, I couldn't do it again there?
They would start to either converge or diverge.
Oh, would they? Okay.
Because
so
because we're on the surface of a sphere.
How come that doesn't happen? How come that doesn't happen on state plane coordinates or Cartesian? They have to be able to measure it with straight lines, right? And get 90 degrees to get those coordinates, right? So how do they do that if they can't do that?
You have to ask somebody that knows more about geodesy or geodesy than I do.
Well, if you just admitted that I could do it between my position and the horizon, and then you're telling me like, well, how far will it start to deviate then? Like,
so the Earth is
3 miles.
Okay,
only 6 miles or what?
The Earth is really, really big, and over small distances, the discrepancy isn't going to show. But as the measurements continue over larger and larger distances, those discrepancies will assert themselves more and more.
How large?
I don't know exactly how large. Like I said, you should talk to somebody who knows geodesy a little bit better. It's just a simple principle, though, right? The Earth is really big, so at a really small local area, you could ignore the curvature if you wanted,
right?
And you wouldn't, and the discrepancies would not show themselves because they would be below the tolerances of your instruments.
So you can't measure the curvature of standing on it then?
I didn't say that.
Oh, okay. What point would you be able to do it then if you're
You can measure, you can detect curvature. There's a number of ways to do it.
6 in shadows?
You can do it using a drone. You could measure, you could see a distant object with the drone with an observation at say 6 feet, and then zoom the drone up to say 100 feet or 300 feet, and then you would be able to see more of it, and that would confirm curvature, because on a flat Earth that couldn't happen.
So you're begging the question then, right?
That's not begging the question. That's hypothesis confirmation.
Yeah. You're saying I can take a drone, I can see Earth curvature, therefore Earth's curvature.
No, the drone would show you more of the object would be revealed depending on its height above the Earth. So that would confirm curvature.
You're already thinking the Earth's a ball, right? When you take the drone up, that's why.
That's what a hypothesis is. A hypothesis.
So you're begging the question.
No,
right?
idiot. It's called the hypothesis and then confirmation of it. You fucking moron.
Yeah, really? So what's the independent?
It's called the hypothesis. You fuckhead. You could do it the other way.
Yeah.
I could hypothesize
Earth's a ball.
that the Earth is
I'm gonna
flat
take a drone up,
and then disprove
Earth's
it by
already a
doing
ball,
what you're saying.
right?
Either one. Fuck
Earth's
off.
already a ball, right? I'm gonna go up there and fly a drone, and
That's called a hypothesis. You idiot.
Affirmative the consequent, right?
No, it's not affirming the consequent, you fucking moron.
Keep going.
That's how
So
science
try-
works. You have a hypothesis, a guess.
Tell
try
us what the experiment is.
decaffeinated coffee, man. It'll bring your anxiety levels
Oh,
down a
fuck
bit.
Hey, Nazar Shill, tell us what the experiment is.
coffee and a cake.
Describe us the logical argument that you're making when
The
you
argument
do that.
here is that you hypothesize the Earth is a sphere, and what Ellen is
So you're already begging the
describing,
question.
Brenda is describing. No, it's not begging the question, you fuckhead.
You
God
already think
damn
you're
it!
a
You're
sphere.
gonna shut up.
Let him get it out. Let's hear it.
Wow.
You are a stupid person. This is why I don't try to teach you asshole stuff, because you do stupid
Middle
stuff
school
like,
science
affirming
teacher.
the consequent. No, fuck off.
Yeah, that's what you're doing.
Are you going to tell us
Just
what the
come here to
logical
abuse
argument
people.
is?
No, I'm not going to tell you what it is, because morons like flat earth dad are going to say, oh, you're affirming the consequent, no matter what I say.
Well, what if you are, paid Nazar Shill? What if you are affirming it?
Do you know what I've heard literally five times in this show today is because it's a sphere? That's 5 times I've heard you guys say because it's a sphere.
No, you start off with a hypothesis. Then you can
I'm saying
the
in conversation
hypothesis.
because it's a sphere. That's what you've been saying.
If the Earth was a
Brenda
sphere,
said,
comma,
no, but that's not what you say.
That's what they say, moron.
Can I say something? Just 1 minute. If we use a drone to go up, what do we expect to see on a sphere, and what do we expect to see on a flat Earth? And whichever comes right that we see, then the Earth what
There would be suppositions. You'd have to have.
supposition?
Well, you'd have to have something to compare it against. You wouldn't have a base.
Oh, fuck.
No, he's right.
Okay.
What makes you think you know what the Earth is supposed to look like if it's flat? Why do you think you know that?
You're right, because we don't know what the Earth's supposed to look like because it's flat, because it's not flat.
We can deduce what the Earth would look like if it was flat.
You can
based
guess.
on
How do you do that? Run me through the deduction.
It's called a model, and then you
Yeah.
confirm
What
the
have you touched-
model.
What have you touched with your hands and applied sciences rather to infer what you've done through your own intuition?
And this,
Well, if nobody's measured from the North Pole to the equator, why can't the Earth be like an NFL football?
It could be.
That'd be awesome.
There is a possible world.
Brenda, load up the paper, I dare you.
We live on a huge Lombardi trophy.
Why not?
Yeah.
How have you falsified that? Because the meter measurement was the meter was derived by the circumference of the Earth, so we've been told. But then Data or whoever it was pointed out that nobody's been measured North Pole to equator. So how do you know it's a sphere?
You just need to measure it in 2 directions that like 90 degrees or something to each other, and that's it.
And length contraction.
If you don't know what the top looks like, you don't know what the top looks like because it's never been measured. How far is it?
What's top?
The North Pole. How far is it from the equator if no one's measured it?
Well, we know the radius of the sphere, then we know the distance.
Oh, so it's a presupposition of a sphere.
No, it's already experimented and tested and verified that it's a sphere. I did it myself.
Did you develop the radius through the equatorial size? Is that where the measurements derived from?
No, not
going around the path of the sun around Earth.
I don't know what the equatorial size. I didn't look at it and to compare. I just made an experiment.
Because the history that I've read, is they determined the size of the Earth due to the path of the sun over the Earth. That's how they got the 24,901 miles they claim.
Yeah.
The path of the sun? That's nonsense. No one would ever say that.
That's what that's apparently what I read anyway. I could be wrong with that, but that's just one method. But yeah, that was what I read.
When was this meter? This meter was done in the 1500s. Is that what I heard earlier? Someone determined it in the 1500s.
1537, I think. Yep.
Well, sure as hell, nobody ran a tape measure around the circumference of the Earth in the 1500s.
No,
Crow,
from the North Pole to the equator. Sorry, from the North Pole to the equator. Nobody did that either, but that was the going rhetoric then. So.
Are you talking about like measuring it with measuring it actually measuring it with a plane or something like that? Is that what you're talking about?
I'm just saying that none of these guys actually physically did that. They took the eyesight and the path of the sun, and you take a pattern and you devise a calculation from that pattern. And the reality is none of you guys use spherical coordinates to navigate. It's all Euclidean. And as a hiker, I can use the ratio of my thumb to my eye to navigate in straight paths over an Earth. So it's this one rule for terrestrial, and then your imagination of because the coordinates can rely on the same space as flat as sphere. They're just mathematically represented differently based on a singular point, right?
Well, there's 2 points I'd like to address what you said. First thing, no one ever looked into the path of the sun. The second thing, I myself used Euclidean geometry, just plane geometry, for a challenge that Wolfie made about the flight plan. I used normal geometry, the one that I know.
What is this?
And it came very accurate.
What's this article in Wikipedia called Sun Path, where it defines the term sun path and talks about the path of the sun?
I don't know what the path of the sun has to do with the radius.
Well, can you not derive a radius with a supposition on the path of the sun if you looked at it as a circle versus a sphere?
No.
You can still also have a radius on a flat. You can also still have a radius on a flat circle as
You
well.
are red
right?
herring. You are red herring. No one used the path of the sun to measure the radius of the Earth. At least I didn't do it.
Yeah, in back like a long time ago, dude. Like anyway.
Okay, maybe they were wrong, but I did it in another way.
Whatever. You can look at it as philosophy. The empirical evidence says that it's observably stationary. All you globers that I've debated,
It actually doesn't.
All you globers that I debated admit that it appears to be flat and stationary. That's at least the best evidence for flat Earth. Flat Earthers have a different. Flat Earthers have it. It's already written down, dude. You've already responded to it all. So the reality is that you cannot. It's no different for a logical deduction to look at the sun and moon, or look at the moon, or look at Jupiter and look at its moons, and imagine Earth the same context. It's not illogical to think that way, and it's not also illogical to think that what you observe to be stationary and true with a moving sun is also not illogical. It's logical deduction. So you can't fault 2 points of philosophy. But this is the scripted argument that's now thousands of years old, that is like scripted the last 100 years, right?
Yeah. Science isn't philosophy; it's science.
So, yeah, no, it's total philosophy when you're talking
No,
about.
it's not.
It
was at one time, but it's.
How did Kepler get his planetary laws of motion? What did he do? What did he have to do? He had to have a supposition. He had to place the planet somewhere.
It was.
But you know what he did first? You know what he did first? He built a base. He started with what he observed without any pretext.
Science was at one time considered part of natural. Excuse me. Let me finish sentences. Science was at one time considered part of natural philosophy, but it has since sort of forked off, and it's not really a part of science anymore. I mean, philosophy anymore. Although philosophy is important to science, there's a great deal of dialogue going back and forth between philosophers and scientists.
And stuff.
Yeah, theoretical scientists love applied science.
Who determines who's correct?
So actually, theoretical science physicists, particularly, try to come up with new theories and to deduce conclusions based on current science, and so that then applied science or experimental scientists will then try to shoot down the theoretical scientists their theories and try to either confirm or disconfirm them. And so they're actually in a sort of competitive relationship with each other, and this is good for science.
Welcome to Flat Earth, Brenda.
How does that make anything flat Earth.
Flat Earth is fantastic for modern science. It'll hold modern
No,
science.
it
to
isn't.
toes.
It's
Yep.
it's a
Oh, yeah.
it's a historical oddity. It's a few hundred people on the internet. That's it.
Yeah, it's going to look like that for a while, but by 2025, it's going to not look like that unless they tighten internet rules and they try to stifle freedom of speech.
They don't have to, because the numbers have fallen off a cliff. Just go to Google Trends. Just go to Google Trends and Google
Brenda,
flat Earth.
you're all
The
about
numbers have-
you're all about the
have
numbers.
fallen off a
Just go
cliff.
to Google Trends. We know they blocked them off, but yeah, that's the proper trend.
The people who told Congress that they were going to start censoring us and doing stuff like that. Yeah.
Well,
Let's
imagine
trust
it's
them
only going to get
figures
worse
now.
since it's only going to get worse since they're
I don't
trying to do it
think
here in Canada legally. which changes
Nobody
the laws.
cares about flat Earth. Nobody cares except
You
for
do, Brenda.
Yes,
You do.
yes,
Look at
and
you
I am,
here.
Yes, and I am nobody.
I don't think that's true that nobody cares. I think that there are people who are afraid that flat earth thinking and flat earth ideas are going to spread among the population, and they've probably put some money into stopping that.
No, I don't think anybody is afraid of that.
Yeah, I think they are actually. I think
Oh,
that's
okay,
why
well,
there's
that's
been
your-
and I think there's psychological operations online in
I
order
know,
to
I'm
address
sure you
that.
do.
Somebody probably sold somebody, an intelligence contractor said, "Hey, we can do this for you," because they were talking about it in front of Congress, and the president kept mentioning it, and they're like, "Yeah, okay." So they threw him a few $1,000,000, and now we got a bunch of dickheads on here who bug us every day.
basically retired engineers, skeptic debunkers,
Perfect people for
like
that job. Perfect people for
Right.
those jobs.
Old airplane pilots. Those kinds of people are the main people who are debunking flat Earth.
That's exactly who I would hire.
Well, in the recruitment profile.
They're not hired, Brandon. Nobody's hired. I should be getting paid if that was the case.
No, there's.
I haven't got paid in
I
5 years. I
guarantee the
haven't got
government
paid.
No, you're recruiting for the wrong side, Brenda.
There's lots
I
of useful
guarantee the
idiots
government
too
pays,
that
sir.
they've recruited.
I guarantee it. Government pays you, right, Brenda?
Government's paying everybody. Actually.
Yeah,
Everyone's
Rakia. The
Everyone's
government,
got
the NSA pays me big bucks. Yeah, that's
Do you
right,
have a job or do you get paid a government check?
I'm
Everyone got a stimulus check, right?
You got a government. You get a government check monthly, or you have a job.
Well, I am
Nope.
retired.
That's mine.
I'm retired. I'm on Social Security.
So you get Social Security, government check.
I'm retired.
That's all you get is Social Security.
Yeah.
You live off of Social Security. Bless your heart.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very poor. Yes.
No,
I go
no,
to- I
no
go to-
subsidies.
It's
I
not
go
their
to-
business where you get paid.
Just a minute. I go to the food shelf. There's people in my apartment building that go there and they bring food back, and I go through the food there. I am very frugal with the amount of money I get because it's not much, but it's enough.
So no government checks.
You guys are giving them way too much credit if you think they work for the government.
You should be getting paid.
I
Brenda,
should
for what you
be.
do.
Yes.
Not all of them.
I should
Not all of them.
I know.
Like I said, there's some
get
useful
a
idiots too.
We'll put in a good word, Brenda.
I can honestly say I get a government check. So yeah, thank you.
Flat Earth, the dunking on government time.
The government doesn't give
Brenda,
a damn
what-
about
what-
flat Earth. Nobody
Brenda,
cares.
what turned you on to flat Earth? What turned you on to it?
The possibility to improve my debating and rhetorical skills.
Yeah, that's
and
what I
I've
mean,
had
the
to
argument.
educate. I can go. So I've had to educate myself on certain topics in the meantime, and so I have learned by having flat earthers as an opposition. I've had to learn things. Right. That's the value to me. For some people, it's entertainment. For other people, like they have other reasons. Mine is simply it's learning and education. And frankly, I'm thinking about sort of like moving on to like I talk with creationists, with theists. I can have religious debates with people. I've had those debates. They're all interesting to me. It's the life of thinking, of philosophy, debate, counter debate, right? I consider that interesting.
Yeah, theoretical physics, philosophy, not reality, right? As long as you stay away from reality, you're all good. Happy.
All of those things are aspects or can reflect upon reality. Reality is what the sciences tell us.
Reality is what science tells you.
We're going to go into this again.
Yes.
Repeat that one.
Science determines what is in fact the case.
How's that working out for you, Brenda?
Extremely well.
Really?
Yes.
Did science
sound like
determine refraction is involved when doing light tests and stuff?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You know, refraction.
Guys, why are we interviewing her
account for
like
it?
she's this famous scientist or something?
Yeah, so refraction is a scientific fact, yes.
And you accounted for that before you concluded that Jeranism's test is a good test and concludes that it's Earth curve.
I concluded that 7 pixels is not sufficient to account for the discrepancy noted in Jeranism's experiment, yes.
So you didn't hear the 1 to 6 meters that accounts for?
So over what distance? It's going to matter, isn't it?
12 kilometers.
Yeah, is that how far apart were the boards in the Jeranism?
So you didn't know? You don't know this information?
When I asked
yeah,
the
you're
question,
concluding.
So what? So one of the ways I can know that
Have you concluded without knowing all the information, Brenda, here?
So one of the ways I can know that you're full of shit is when I ask questions and I just get this constant obfuscation.
There is no constant issue. You obfuscate and asking more and more questions every time I'm pointing out that you don't know all the information.
I'm just asking you, and I can't.
Did you know all the information to make your conclusion, Brenda? Yes or no?
Yes. Over the distance.
What was the refraction account? Sorry, what was the refraction account that you had there?
So when he lifted the light to 23 feet instead of 17.
Yeah, what was the refraction again?
Refraction is not going to have any kind of significant.
Why? How long was it? What was the distance?
Didn't mean to
again?
yell at you guys. Whatever.
What was the distance again, Brenda?
Yeah, go ahead. Tell me. What is it?
So you don't know that information. That's important information, because that could be 12 kilometers, couldn't it? And it could be between 1 and 6 meters. Hello? Have you hung up the phone?
I've just looked at the 2 images of the hospital, and it seems like one floor, about 1 floor. I compared them. So maybe something like 3 meters.
I did say half a floor earlier, but it's all right. It is between 1 to 7 pixels throughout the day is the variation.
When you said 7 pixels, it sounds like very tribal. I thought I would count 7 pixels on that picture, but it's actually like 37 pixels.
No, that picture is just a little cut down picture, isn't it? Did you get the original picture, or are you literally doing a
I
zoom
downloaded
in of the paper?
No, I downloaded the 2 images. I'm not sure if that's accurate, but anyway, pixels doesn't matter because I see a difference of 1 floor, almost 1 floor.
Yeah,
so the
cool.
hospital was lifted up by say 3 meters. So if that what happened with Jeranism, he didn't need to lift his light because the other light.
Yeah, but no, the whole thing is, the point is the image moves, and if you didn't already recognize, is just before it becomes dark, or when it's becoming dark, there is a negative pixel shift first before it rises up. Now, if you read the paper instead of just looking at the pretty pictures, you will understand that this is my whole point, that Brenda has not taken this into account, but yet she's concluded without having all the information, yet she's selling this to the general public, and I fully back Brandon on this. You're talking shit that you know nothing about, yeah, and a person who was actually at the test has just concluded that as well, with information that I didn't even know. Yeah, but you've concluded it's definitely Earth curve, and there's nothing else it could be.
Well, I've never been interested in.
Sorry, that was Brenda. That was aimed
Yeah,
at
yeah,
Brenda there,
I
correct.
know, but
Yeah.
she's not there. But
She's destroyed.
I say all these observations, they don't. I mean, when I was young, when I see a ship that's occluded, I say, "Aha, Earth curvature." But when I walked into the flat Earth, I don't consider any of these pictures, whether it shows globe or flat Earth, because
I high five you on that. I'm dead with you on that. I'm in that camp. None of these pictures prove anything, but what it does prove is that there is a shift. There is a shift of light. We all know refraction should be accounted for. Even Mick West puts a big red bold thing saying, get your vertical temperature profile. And Jeranism didn't. But yet, people are led to believe that they should conclude something on a test that was inconclusive anyway. That was my point. I don't care whatever else.
I agree.
Yeah, wants to go with other things, but yeah, I 100% back you that a picture does not prove 100% anything. Either model.
Science doesn't
it can
prove
work
100% anything.
Yeah, it can work in favor for either model, but refraction is always the key in both.
That's awesome. That means the picture.
Unless you can repeat it over and over like 10 times with the
Pictures
same
from
result.
space prove the flat Earth claim.
I know what you're saying, bro.
Pictures from space prove the flat Earth claim.
No?
Oh, I didn't think so. But okay.
That's awesome. That means we can't rely on.
Wait,
Darren's,
do you know I'm not a
we
flat
can't
earther?
rely on Darren's experiments.
Are you drunk
to
or something?
Yes, you are. You're
prove flat
definitely.
Earth.
Well, you're bi, or you're a bi-earther. You indecisive.
So you
earther.
decide my belief system now, yeah?
Well, you're a bi.
Cool.
You can't decide. You're in the middle. You know.
No, how about
swing both
I'm
ways.
just taking a scientific point of view?
No, you're not.
You think
Why?
bi
You're not.
people
Why?
can't decide? That's why they're
You're
bi.
not
Why?
because the globe is scientifically proven. But no.
The hell?
So what?
You're bi.
So what?
There's one truth, and that's
I cite NASA
Gleam.
to you, and you deny NASA.
I
Come
don't
on.
deny NASA. You misquote NASA because you don't understand.
Yeah,
it.
you don't understand it. You just
That's correct.
don't understand it.
You don't.
And every time I'll tell you don't understand it, you come back and you say, well, please explain. And you say, nah, bullshit, and run off.
Hey, Gleam.
That sounds about right.
That's literally what happens 1,000,000%
I
of the
can't
time.
explain shit to you because you are so misunderstood that you can't even decide what the shape of the Earth is. But yet you know a lot about science, right? Yeah, except I don't know what the shape of the Earth is. But I know everything about quantum physics, but I don't know what the shape of the Earth is.
I thought the whole point about science is to be neutral.
Yeah, it was actually the whole point. Neutral. Right? In other words, be indecisive. Got it.
Yes, because you do not know the outcome of the experiment. Is that not correct, paid
Well, it's
NASA
correct.
shield?
Actually, it's a hypothesis, and you usually have.
Yeah,
a
so you're testing things, aren't you? Which could be one way, it could be another. So
something like, the Earth
sitting on
is
the fence
flat.
is actually science, isn't it?
No, that's called false.
That's called
No.
sitting on the fence and being bi.
No, it's called detaching your personal belief.
No.
And everything I cite to you is from fucking science, and you
No,
hate
no,
it.
no.
That's called a
So that's why I have to be a flat earther to
Cherry
you.
picking from science. I got
That's
it.
called-
You and QE are almost.
Yeah,
almost-
cherry picking all these
Gleam,
years.
you're just a flat Earth cheerleader. That's all you are.
Yes,
Gleam, this is
because
a-
you are liars promoting them, and they have a point. Yes, you are a liar. I've proven you're a liar.
The guy who
And the flat earthers
Gleam,
don't. I
the
mean,
guy
you
who
got, guys,
believes
you got guys that tell nothing but the truth, like QE and Nathan's and everybody. They tell the absolute truth.
This guy believes in space.
So you don't
This
know
guy
about
believes in
the
space and thinks
the arguments I've had with flat earthers and cited NASA same way.
You say that they
Can I please
they
say
tell the truth. I got it.
And he believes in space, right? Don't you,
No, I
Gleam?
say space isn't a belief. Space is proven too. There are 7 people up there right now.
Space is absolute misnomer. There is no
7
such thing
people
in
up there
space
as
in the
we
globe
speak.
Earth science.
7 people up there right now as we speak.
There is no such thing as space.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, you
And there's
constantly.
No, there is
right
not.
now.
Yeah, you cite.
Space
We saw it on
is a
TV, but they forgot
misnomer.
to put the other satellites in
stupid.
the ISS. Darn it.
Okay.
Yeah, he quotes-
Space
yeah,
is a
yeah, he
misnomer.
quotes
Look it up in
pure-
physics. There is
Yeah,
no such
he
thing
quotes
as
pure Rubin.
space.
Yes, there is.
Don't you
There
quote
is
Vera
not.
Rubin?
Can I go after the flat earthers for a second? Gleam, do you guys have you found a claim that they've made yet? I can't find a Glober claim yet. Do you guys know of any claims?
Well,
Yeah,
they
that
did claim that
space
thing about
exists,
the
but no one can
collinated
show me a
laser.
piece of space. There is
I'm
always
gonna make a
matter in
global
space.
claim. I'm gonna make a
Is
global
there a
claim right
claim
now.
of anybody ever
Quote.
measuring
Hey,
Earth
can I-
curvature without an assumption
can
or
I
religious
try?
belief? Has that ever happened?
Can I make a claim? The Earth has volume, and all things with volume take up space. Therefore, space does exist outside our Earth.
There you
If
go.
there's volume
right.
within
I'm
the
in space
space,
right now.
there is no such thing as the
Falsify
space.
what I said. Falsify what I said, Gleam.
I just
Did you
did.
say green? What the fuck did you just say?
Why do
I
you
just
always
did.
What did you
Why
say?
do
Say it
If-
again.
if
That was
matter-
probably come on,
if
say it again.
matter-
It sounded really stupid. Say it again, please.
If matter fully occupies the space, leaving no emptiness, then where's the space?
What the fuck is he doesn't make any sense. The Earth does not fill the entire universe.
It did make sense. If
No,
there's
I did
matter,
not say it was the
takes
Earth.
up
I
all
said
the
matter,
space,
didn't I?
Of course,
where
it made
would the
sense to you,
space
Babs,
be?
because you're just as stupid as Gleam.
Show me where you
I
can
was
get
very
absolute
specific.
space. Show me where you can get this
I
absolute
was-
space that
I
you're
was
dealing
very-
in a
I was
book for
very
10
what I
bucks.
said.
Pretty sure they can't.
I was
Why do
very
you-
clear
Flat
in
earthers are
what I
gonna let
said.
you guys. You're gonna let them drag you down to that level of magical fairy tale space. We're just gonna let them avoid the curvature.
No.
Well, they
I'm
can't
sorry.
bring it down. He just challenged them. They can't meet the challenge.
The
Yeah,
Earth,
there's still no claim. That's the point.
I'm making a claim right now. The Earth, no matter what shape it
I
is,
saw it on TV. That's not a claim. Yeah, you need one with
7 people.
I'm making a claim right now. I'm making a claim right now. No matter what shape the Earth is, it has volume. Everything with volume in reality takes up an area of space. And the Earth is not big enough to take up all of known space. Therefore,
can't
I
demonstrate
don't even
that.
know how big the Earth is. You can't even
You
measure
can't
your
demonstrate
backyard.
that.
You can't even measure your backyard, but you're gonna tell me what the Earth is. That's brilliant.
I can
You
measure
can't,
my
you can't
backyard. What are you
demonstrate that
talking
everything
about?
takes up space.
Pathetic.
Yeah, I can.
No, you can't, because
Yeah.
first you have to prove that the space was there and then demonstrate items taking it up. You can't demonstrate the space. You can only demonstrate the item. Checkmate.
You got it wrong in the Big Bang model,
Wrong.
though. I thought everything was space,
Incorrect.
and it's all expanding at the same time.
What model?
I
Can I
don't-
see this model?
I don't necessarily
The balloon
subscribe
model.
to. I don't
All right, love this. Can I
subscribe
get
to.
just a single question answered on this model?
I'm trying to answer, but you keep interrupting me. I don't subscribe to the Big Bang model, so I don't know what you're talking about.
That's not the model.
I think space is infinite.
Anybody see a ball Earth model lately? I've been looking for.
Is there any empty area of space with just space that we can isolate and have
Space
just
is
space?
infinite. Space is infinite. Outside our planet, the area outside our planet is infinite. We're just in a portion of that area.
So there's no matter in that space.
That's not a claim. That's just
No,
a
please
religious
do.
belief. Still no claim.
Yeah, it is a religious belief, even in global science, that, to be honest.
I think that's giving it more credit than it deserves.
Insanity is what it is.
But anyway, is there just space there, Lael, or is there space with matter inside it?
Well, matter takes up area. An area is what we call space.
Yeah, I mean, a
That's what you call
centimeter
space.
is what
I
we
would call it an
define as a cubic centimeter. We define as a proportion of something. Yeah, it's a
Right,
it's
it
a
can
man-made
be-
conceptual
It can't be nowhere.
grid
It has to
to
take up
allow
an
us to
area
measure
of
it,
space.
and that's what space is. To say, yeah, we've got space out there. That's just to say that we exist, basically. Yeah,
No,
what
it's
we've
not.
actually got out there is nothing, which is an empty thing called space.
That's not true.
Space is not a
matter is
thing.
all over in space. There's a lot of matter out in space. What are you
No,
talking
that's
about?
what I'm talking. That
It's
is
not
what I'm
devoid of
talking
matter.
about. It's matter. It's not space.
No, I'm sorry, but it's not all.
Do you think we can
apparently-
suck the matter out and there'll be a thing in there called space
What?
left over?
I never said any word about sucking.
No, but that's what
Yeah, they don't
you're
believe in
assuming
vacuum.
that there is.
Yeah.
It's called a reification when you say, "Yeah, I've got something, yeah, which actually depends on this other thing called matter, yeah, but I've got this something which I'm going to create as a something which is actually a nothing, because space is a nothing, and it's no
I've never
thing."
claimed that. I've never claimed that.
Is space no thing, or is space a thing?
Space is an area that has matter in it.
So it's a thing.
So you can't demonstrate matter ever being out of
Not
it?
nothing. So it's matter, basically, is what you're talking about. It's an area of matter.
Matter is in space.
Okay, sorry.
Matter is in
How
space.
do you isolate the two, or can you never isolate the two? Are they
Of
inseparable?
course you can. You just remove the matter.
Okay, do that. For us.
That's what I just asked.
Go to space.
Where can you remove the matter, Brenda? Name one place in the universe where there's a perfect vacuum.
The donut hole,
perfect
right?
vacuum, you asshole. You know that. Yeah,
That's
like
evacuating
let's play
all
the
of the
perfect
matter.
game here.
So
Let's
there's
play
That
the
is
perfect game.
evacuating
Everything
all
has
the
to be
matter.
perfect vacuum. Fucktards.
That is what is
Yeah,
required.
between your ears, that's a perfect vacuum. That goes for
Do
you,
you-
too,
He doesn't care at all,
You
right?
don't understand,
Between your
do you,
ears is a
Paid
perfect
Show, mate?
vacuum.
You don't understand.
There's nothing
For you.
between your ears, and you too, Gleam. That's a good
For
point.
you, space is a misnomer. It is a label that we give to an area or a volume of matter.
No, incorrect.
No,
it isn't.
It is.
Listen,
No, it
Gleam,
isn't.
I gotta go. Why do you
Okay,
let
prove
people
that
do
space
this?
exists as a separate thing to matter.
Gleam, why do you let these people do this? They don't even have a claim. We're letting them talk about fairy tales. I don't get it.
Yeah,
Oh, I love it.
You mean the space between
They're
your head is
reifying.
empty. That's
It's
correct.
just a fairy
They're
tale. He doesn't have
reifying
a fairy tale. He's scared to
emptiness.
death of his own religion. Like
Something
Gleam.
from nothing.
Scared to death.
Lawrence Krauss talks about it. He wrote a whole book about it. Something from nothing. There is nothing
I
in
don't
the
believe
vacuum.
in Lawrence
In the
Krauss. What are you
vacuum
talking about?
is what you're saying.
And by the way, Lawrence Krauss would never claim that the space, outer space, the universe, is devoid of matter, because our Earth is made of matter. So are all the other planets and the stars made of matter.
That's
Everything
my
in the
argument,
universe
Leo.
is made of matter.
That's my argument,
You
Leo.
have no idea what they're
No.
made of. That's another religious belief. Absolutely insane.
No. Everything we
You
see
live in
is
a
made of
cartoon,
matter.
princess. Stop faking it. Get some
Sorry.
acting lessons. You guys let these people do this all day, Brandon. It's pretty amazing, but it's not productive.
Just because you want to call it a cartoon doesn't make it a cartoon.
You don't even have a claim.
It's facts.
Don't even have a claim, literally.
You're
It's so
right.
easy
I'm
and
stating
pathetic.
facts. Matter
You're
exists
just
in our
making
universe.
stuff
That's what-
up because you watched a lot
No.
of science
So it's
fiction
not
programs
space.
as a child. You still live in
We
a
were
cartoon.
talking about what Lawrence Krauss would say. Lawrence Krauss would say the
And
universe
you're
is
going to
filled with
make
matter.
claims for somebody you've never met. You are delusional at best.
Do you have evidence that
My
what I'm
Catholic
saying is
priest would
not
never
true?
tell me these things. That's brilliant. That's unbelievable. Great job.
Way to make stuff up.
Unbelievable. Is there a globe Earth? Can we just talk about a globe Earth model, though? I know we can't get the curvature in reality. So where is it on the model? Can we see that?
It's the globe. That's the model.
Perfect. Okay, excellent. Thank you for that non-claim. Now, how high off the globe Earth model do I have to go to see the curvature of this model? When does it begin?
It depends on atmospheric conditions.
And okay, on a model in perfect conditions, how high do I have to go?
You can detect the curvature. Just
C, not
standing.
C.
Just standing.
How high do I have to go to C? Come on, stop hiding from the question, Brenda. Take it easy
No,
now.
you can detect the curvature just
No,
standing.
how high do I have to go to see the curvature on the model? I'm just looking for a claim for your
when
model.
you
You
look-
can't even answer the question. It's
when
amazing.
you look at the horizon, you are seeing the curvature.
That's a lie. That's seeing a flat line. Again, proving my point.
Not-
They don't even have a claim. Glean, Brandon, they don't even have a claim for seeing curvature. That's how insane this is.
I could give you the correct claim coming from NASA, which is you should start to actually detect it by a camera around about 14,000 feet.
60,000 feet.
Whoa, really? Why? That's amazing because every camera shot in history shows that there's no curve much higher than that. Would they like to demonstrate
I know.
that? I'd love to see it.
It's David K. Lynch's papers visually discerning the curve of Earth.
See, you're
He's gonna get in
equivocating.
trouble.
You're equivocating
That's ridiculous.
between like X, Y, and or Z depth and XY curvature. You're equivocating between those.
You don't have the slightest clue of what you're talking about, Brenda. That's why
Yeah,
you
I'm
say
talking
you
about
can't.
Z
You
depth.
can't see it. Exactly. No claim.
Which one do you think?
Not just in front of you.
Yeah, they admit they can't see it even on the model. I mean, you're talking about the largest group of Dunning-Kruger sycophants in history, guys.
So XY is different than Z.
We know it.
Oh boy, that answers my question. Now I know at what altitude I have to go to see the curvature on the model. No, I don't. You don't even have a claim.
So
Brenda. That's
there's
the
a difference between
It's
left
an
to right.
algebraic altitude.
Since letters, in mathematical terms confuse you, left to right
letters and
curvature
math. Yeah,
is
still no
different.
claim.
Left
So
to
no
right
claim?
curvature is different than forwards to backwards.
What do you think we're talking about?
Why?
We're talking
Yeah,
about
I
left
said
to right.
any curvature at all. How high do I have to go above the globe Earth model to see any curvature at all in perfect condition? No.
You
answer.
can observe obstruction due to curvature.
Nope, no answer.
At almost any
Ugh.
height.
Can't see the curve. No answer. Exactly. It's way too easy.
You can observe obstruction due to curvature.
Yep. Just like on a
standing
basketball
on the
court. Yep.
beach.
I lay my head down on a basketball court. And
Yes.
the coin at the end of the basketball court disappears.
No,
Must be
it
curved
doesn't.
basketball court. Yep. Yeah. So the basketball court is also a basketball. You can have it's right in the name, basketball court. So yeah, go ahead.
Right. So you can observe obstruction due to curvature standing
you
on
can't.
the beach. Yes, you can. It's
No, you
been
can't.
done.
Nope. I can zoom in and there's the boat again. That was easy.
No,
Next.
you can't. You can't zoom in.
Oh,
And
that's a
see
lie.
the part
You've never done it. That's a lie. You just lied
Yes,
as usual. You're
you can
atheist. Have
see
to
it.
lie.
It's been
So there's
done.
still no claim. See, here's the point, Brandon Glenn. There's not a claim to when I see curvature. There's a claim to when I not able to see curvature. That's brilliant. I'm trying to find when I can see curvature, Brenda.
So what you would see is obstruction due to curvature, and
just
you
on a
can
flat
see-
surface, exactly as
you
it is on a
see
flat
that.
surface. Correct.
You can
Welcome to
see
flat Earth.
obstruction
Yep.
due to
On a flat Earth.
curvature.
Yep.
Standing on the beach. You can
Yep.
see
As
it.
I lay my head down on the basketball court, I can't see the coin at the end of the basketball court. Thanks. Welcome to Flat Earth.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, there's another liar. Okay,
Water.
so we got another sycophant.
Water
who's never
has
walked
claimed
out of
that
his house.
the
Can't wait to see that
court is not
demonstration.
perfectly flat.
Says
That's
yeah,
only
who
because
doesn't
the
know
court
shit.
is not perfectly flat.
Yeah, I can't see curvature. Still waiting for a claim. Gleam and Brandon, just wanted to point out you'll never get a claim when I can see the curvature.
You just
Thank you.
talk. So on a
Brenda,
on,
you're just
on a
vomiting
flat-
yourself as usual.
on
You're out
a
of your mind.
on a
You need
flat
to get an
basketball
exorcism.
court.
Seriously, you need to have an exorcism,
There's
Brenda.
no
You're
such
possessed
thing
by
as
multiple
demons.
demons.
There's
You
no
are a
such
perfect
thing.
example. I
Multiple
use you all the
demons,
time to
you
show myself. I
moron.
go, look at this person. Look
There's
at
no
people
such
like 8 minutes from home and Brenda. They're possessed by demons. They say I can see the curvature when I
There's no
can't see
demon.
it.
You can.
Because I
You
can't
get high
see
enough.
curvature. That's how I know it's there. Just like
Get high
evolution.
enough.
The
Yes,
cats
you can
make
see
kittens.
curvature.
That's how we know cats come from pond
How much
scum. Do you
weed
see
do I
a
have to smoke
kind of a
to see the
pattern here?
curve?
Maybe you, Godzilla, in the chat can help me.
Oh, maybe you could pull your head out of your ass and you can actually see something.
Yeah, you're just another retard hiding from your own
I'm a
claim. You don't
retard.
even have a claim. How
I'm
does
a
that make you
retard.
feel that
That's
you
funny.
can't even answer the basic, most
That's
fundamental
funny.
question regarding your globe model of
So-
when I can see
When can I see the flat Earth
on
model,
your
please?
globe model?
When can I
You
see the
don't
flat Earth
even
model,
have
please?
a claim, princess. What's it like living in a cartoon being smashed
When
by
can I
10-year-old
see the flat Earth model?
in your evolution debate?
You
So now
saw
you're
it.
over here
Didn't you?
talking about
Evolution.
flat
Wait a
Earth.
minute, we're not talking about
Being
evolution
absolutely
today. You're
annihilated by
conflating evolution
somebody
again. We're
in
not
the
talking
future
evolution.
knowing that you cannot have a claim. What's that feel like?
What's it feel like not to have a model, not to be able to explain anything?
You're on it,
Exactly. You don't have a model either. You're
don't have a
hiding
model.
from the Earth.
But we have a model, actually. It works quite
You're
well.
on the
You have
Earth,
to be
Shield.
proven
make a
over and over and
claim
over
about a
again.
model and then hide from the model.
We have a
Hiding
model.
Jeffrey
We have a
Dahmer
model,
level
and the
psychosis.
model makes predictions, and we can make maps from our model. You can't.
That's a lie. All maps are based on plane surfacing.
Incorrect.
On flat surfaces.
No, they're
Even
not.
Google Earth
Incorrect.
predicts
There are
that.
projections of the
Plain
globe onto
map,
flat.
they're all
There are
flat.
projections of the globe
I've
onto
done
flat.
multiple times.
That's why if you look
So
on
you are just making
that's
stuff
why
up,
you
and
do-
we don't even have a claim for curvature. Not a claim, people. That's how easy this is. There isn't even a claim to when
I've
you
measured
not
curvature.
just
You
in real
can
life,
too.
but on their model.
You can
Congratulations,
measure
folks.
curvature
Getting
too, but you're too
Society
stupid.
of
I'm sorry.
Satanism.
I'm sorry you're too stupid to measure curvature.
Yeah, exactly. You can't do it, so you're admitting
did
that
it.
you're a retard. Thanks for
I
playing.
did
You've
it.
never done it. That's
I
how
did
easy.
the
You've never
equinox.
done it.
I
Oh,
did the
perfect. Let
equinox.
me know when you have a claim for measured Earth curvature in reality.
I
Let me know how
measured
high
at
that
the
is.
equinox.
Oh, so
You
you've
put a
never done it.
stick in the
That was easy.
I
ground.
measured at the equinox.
Okay,
You
yep.
put a
You've
stick
never
in the
measured Earth
ground.
curvature. That was
I
easy.
measured
I mean,
it
how
at the
retarded do you have to
equinox.
be? I
There's
put a
Earth curve.
stick
Put a
in
stick in the ground.
and I
You
saw
measured
this
the Earth
That
or
is
the
Earth
equinox?
on my flat floor. Okay, I
Yeah,
want to put
the
a pencil on my flat floor. There's the shadow.
That's
Yeah,
not the
explain
Earth
this.
When the
flat
sun is
earthers.
over
Explain
the
shadow
equator,
on my
remember know what that is,
floor.
Gleam?
Don't hide from the
I'm
question.
using big
Explain
words
this
now.
Explain the shadow, flat earthers. That's what you're doing. That's how retarded you atheists are.
No, that's how
You're
it works.
literally the cannon fodder for me. You're literally giving me job security so I can
I'm
use
giving you
as
job
an
security
example of
because you're an
demonic
idiot.
perspective.
Yes, that's true.
Keep up the great work.
I know we're giving you stuff to think about, and that's difficult for you because you have no brain.
You don't
I
even
got
have it. Listen, you're stuck in a cartoon, princess. You don't
I'm
even
stuck
have
in a
a
cartoon.
claim. We're still
Says the
waiting
man.
for a claim.
Says
You
the
don't even have
says the
one.
man,
You
the
don't
so-called
even have
man
a
who
claim.
thinks he lives
What
on a
is it
flat
like?
Earth.
Could you imagine
Can
going
you
to
imagine
any
being
other
so
religious
stupid
person and
that you
asking
think
them
the
a
Earth is
question
flat
they
despite
run
all
from
the
their life?
evidence to the
Nobody in history
contrary?
has done this.
flat Earth?
All the shit you
Atheists
have to
are
ignore in order to be a
scared
flirt,
death
and you're doing it.
of their own religion. It is so embarrassing
It
for them. I'm
says the
so
guy
sorry.
who has a flat Earth as a religion because
What's
there's
a
no
flat
facts to
Earth,
back it
Jill?
up.
There's still no claim. So again, here we are. I've been here 10 minutes now. I'm waiting for a claim to when I can see Earth curvature, and we will never get it. That's how easy this is.
Well, you
I'll
can
be
see
back
that
in
though.
20
You can see
minutes.
it
I
from
guarantee there
you
will
can
be
see
no
it.
claim.
You can see it from the ground level. What you see, you know that horizon thing where
No
ships
claim.
are disappearing
Yeah,
behind
the
it.
flat horizon. Yeah, and I zoom
That's
in.
not
There's the
how-
boat again. Well, that was easy. So apparently, Globers think zooming lenses are witchcraft. In fact,
They don't
none of them
pull the
actually
boat.
believe them
They don't pull the
popular
boat
until I
back from
got into
below the horizon. How come the
discussion
top of the
5
boat?
years ago, and
Why
we'd
can you
have
see
to
the
show
top of the
them
boat
how
but not the
zooming
bottom of the
lenses
boat?
work.
Is the
Wow,
bottom of the
that's
boat further
amazing.
away
Yes,
than the top of the boat?
binoculars.
Why can I see the top of
Hey,
the boat but
Nessus,
not
the
the
fact that
bottom
you
of the
have to
boat?
ask that question
looking around
just
a curve when I
shows
use
how little
binoculars.
you've
Do you guys
actually
not
paid
believe
attention
Why
to
can I see
any
the top of the boat
arguments
but not
you've
the bottom
ever
of the boat?
made, any
Is the top of the
observations
boat
we've
further
ever
away?
showed.
You still don't
Why
have
is
a
the top of the
claim,
boat visible but the
princess,
bottom of the boat
minutes from
isn't?
home. Notice you
We have
still
answered
do
that
not
so
have
many
a
fucking
No, you
times.
haven't.
Yes, we have.
And
He's a
that's some
middle
ether
school
band
science
bullshit.
teacher. End of story.
We've shown you empirical observations
No, you haven't. All you said
over
is hand
and
waving ether
over
band
and
bullshit.
over
Hand
again.
wave
You
dismissal.
deny the
Nuh-uh, Brandon,
phenomena.
nuh-uh.
You
You
just wave your
ignore the
hands and say,
observations.
"Nope, sorry,
Nuh-uh,
I'm missing ether
Brandon,
band."
nuh-uh. Yeah, 8
I can
minutes.
see the
Just
top of
nuh-uh,
I can see the
nuh-uh.
top. Yeah, that's exactly what you say.
Congratulations, 8 minutes.
Middle school science.
Demon possession. Thank you.
You know, the Greeks were smarter than you. They figured it out by boats going over the horizon.
We only have
So
a few
the
minutes
answer is
left,
you
and I
don't
did
have
want to go
be
back to
high at all. But the higher
something
you
that
get,
we
the more
talked.
Earth curve you can see.
I wanted to go back to something briefly that we talked about earlier, which is the culminating. Is that the right word? Is that the right tense? Culminating of a laser.
Yeah.
Let's
change the topic. Yeah, I got it.
There was a claim made earlier that if you were to properly collimate the laser over a body of water at a long distance, that you wouldn't see a reflection off of the water of the laser. And I want to try to explore that a little more because I find that very interesting. That means that it would essentially be hidden from view. Like if someone was holding this laser in their hand and you're looking at it from across the water, you could potentially see the reflection of their arm and their body, but you wouldn't see the laser because it's collimated. Is that how it would work?
I think that's the claim.
Yeah, basically.
It would essentially make the laser invisible and not reflect off the water, which is a mirror surface.
Yeah.
It means
That's
that
the
the
claim?
laser is not hitting. If the laser is hitting the water,
Sounds like a flat Earth claim to me.
how would you see the reflection if the laser was not hitting the water?
What do you mean hitting it? It is a light source, right? So if I'm standing on the side of the laser, I can see the laser beam as it goes through the air, right?
No. I mean, if
I
you
can't?
have a laser pin around you, you can try it and tell us what you would find.
I've seen lasers through the air before. You can see them. You can see it from the side. I just wanted to make sure I understood the claim that you wouldn't be able to see the reflection of this laser because it was collimated properly. It's an interesting claim to me. What is the mechanism that hides it, that makes that light coming out of the front of the laser not visible to the water? Is there like a guard on it or what?
No, if it's not spreading enough to touch the water, then I shouldn't see it. It's like holding a flashlight and holding a laser, and the flashlight, if you're holding horizontally, it would hit the ground and you could see the ground, but the laser, you wouldn't see the laser on the ground.
Yeah, I don't
Does that
think it
make
works
sense?
like that. Do you have any evidence for this? Because I just can't picture it working like that. If I hold something physical, it's not a light source. I'm going to see the reflection of that in the water. No matter what it is, why would it be different for a collimated laser?
Because the collimated laser is like it's a lens that doesn't allow the laser to spread.
I don't think
Does
it
anyone
needs to
here have
spread
a
for me to
laser
see a
pen
reflection off
around?
of it.
Oh my god! Do you have a laser pen?
Yeah.
Is it near around you? Can you try it now? Like aim it away from the camera slightly and demonstrate to us. We would see if we can see something or not.
Yeah, but I'm looking in the direction of the laser, in the direction the laser is being pointed.
Oh, no, I mean that you have the camera in front of you, point the laser towards in the general direction of the camera, but not at the camera. And then you would see. If you can see any, like if it's a green laser, if you see green, shining, that's okay. Then it spreads even with a lens.
Okay. I'll test it out.
Maybe the collimation like focuses 95% of the laser and 5% is not focused, so they spread and it can touch the water. I mean, that would be a good point to argue.
Yeah, I would think that you would be able to see something. There's some light coming out of there. But I could be wrong. All right, well, it's almost near the end of the show. Anybody have any final thoughts? Anybody didn't get to speak during the show and want to say something now while we're still on YouTube?
Well, I'm working on a flat Earth horizon drop calculator to calculate the horizon drop on a flat Earth.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, if William is listening to me, I'm using his theory.
Oh, that's awesome. I look forward to seeing that.
Yeah, soon, I hope.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining the panel. I'm going to come back and I'll be recording. So if you're still in here, just know that I am recording the Discord. And we'll see you guys tomorrow for Friday Night Fights. We had a pretty good fight in here tonight, but we'll let it go crazy tomorrow. All right, guys.
As we do.
Yeah, as we do. Yeah. As some people say, it is almost unwatchable, but that's okay. It's fun.
Salute.
Suckers.
All right. Hey, Logan's Run, 5 pounds. It's not long now, and all these trolls will really struggle. Welcome to the P1100. Globe Earth is dying. Are they coming out with the P1100? Have they announced that yet? Huh. What is it, Nikon? Let's look this thing up. P1100. God, that'd be ridiculous. It's already like carrying a telescope around with you with the P1000. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, P1100 expected. Top selling super zoom cameras. Oh, that says P1000. Leaked specification 2 years ago. Well, they've been working on it for a while, huh? Wow, cool. All right, looking forward to that. Thanks a lot, Logan's Run. You guys have a good night. Hope you enjoyed the show. And thanks to everybody who supported the show tonight. James Mays, Godzilla 37, The Science of Science, and Logan's Run. Shout out to the mods for taking care of the chat tonight. Thank you very much. And thanks for everybody for being in the chat and participating. And we'll catch you tomorrow for Friday Night Fights. hell? Hear me like that.
Understand